Oh, hang on. Get rid of that. Evening.
Hello.
How you doing? Listen, thank you very much for joining me, Dave. It's well, we're actually just before we went live. Dave was saying you reckon this was the sixth one, was it? I think you said.
I want to say fifth, but
Well, I'm just looking. We did one on our very first one was on the 22nd of December, 2018. We did one on the 24th of December 2019, and for whatever reason, we didn't do one in the COVID year. Don't know why.
I'm pretty sure we did, but
unless we've called it something different.
Yeah.
Dale, can you check that out for us? I know we did one on the 24th last year.
No, and there was no way we were going to let a small thing like disease get in the way.
Absolutely not. I'll tell you one thing, mate. I've just realised every time I make one of these, I realise two things. Watching the previous one, I've got fatter looking. You don't look any different, and my hat is completely shit. I mean, seriously.
I bought a new one.
Did you?
Yeah, but let me tell you about my new one. Being a man who shops, I mentioned this in my Christmas video. I literally was walking through B&M, just went Christmas hat, didn't even look, just went like that, grabbed it, pulled it off, paid for it, got home, realized it was missing this. So the next day, I went to a supermarket and I bought a dog scarf, and then I cut this off, the dog scarf, and I transferred it to the hat.
Oh, nice.
That's man thinking, that is.
Nice, excellent. There again, mine's is a Christmas elf rather than Santa Claus. A couple of years ago, I used to when I used to run, I used to go to park run, and we always well, you know, depending on when it was, but about 2 years ago it was Christmas Eve, and they like people to dress up, so I went into, I think it was Poundland, and bought their finest elf outfit, and when I was there standing at the start line, I'm looking at all the other elves, and I realised that all the guys had trousers on. It turns out I actually had a dress. I've got the knees for it and the legs for it, so who cares?
How apt for these times we live in now.
Absolutely. So listen, folks, thank you very much for joining Dave and I tonight. We've not really got any agenda other than we're going to talk about our 12 days of Christmas memories. Just things. It might have been a present. It might have just been something that made Christmas what it was. I mean, I'm a grumpy old bastard now, you know. I'm like, bah humbug. But I know there's probably there's very few people that like Christmas more than you. Can you tell me a wee bit why do you like Christmas so much then, Dave?
I don't know. I don't think I've ever had a bad Christmas. I've had disappointing moments in Christmas, but then also I think it's just because I've always preferred the build up to Christmas. Christmas itself, you could argue, is always a letdown, but when you always prefer the build up to Christmas, and the best day of Christmas being Christmas Eve, then it doesn't really matter what happens after that. You can't have a bad Christmas.
You're right. You're absolutely right. I mean, I think I've actually enjoyed it more this year because I work in an office now, whereas previously I worked at home. And so we've been since the bloody 1st of December. We've had the radio on. You're getting bombasted with bombasted. That's not even a bloody word. Bombarded. I've just made up. Bombasted is now a word. It's official. With Christmas songs, so I have kind of got into the spirit a bit more this year. And I think you know, given what's going on in the world at the moment, you know, you could look at the world and say society is going to shit. Fucking the price of everything. I think it's all about looking forward to things and experiencing happiness and that. So I've kind of enjoyed it more, but you're absolutely right. I think it's the build up to Christmas. Christmas Eve is probably the best bit, as you say. And then after Christmas Day is finished, I actually get in a bit of depression. I don't know about yourself.
Well, I'm covered because my present for me this year that people are getting me is an air fryer. So
nice.
Basically, as soon as we come back from my brother's house tomorrow, after, you know, the Christmas with him and his family, basically, I'm just going to live off everything chicken based, chicken wing based, chicken strips, chicken tenders, hot wings, anything chicken based for the rest of the time I'm off for Christmas. Me and my air fryer. That's it. Doesn't matter what else I get. Like, I already stocked up on my favorite hot sauce as well, because what's chicken without your favorite hot sauce? So,
Do you know a girl I work with? I found out that not yesterday, a couple of days ago. She doesn't like chicken. And
how
we're
do
like,
you not like chicken? I'm pretty sure God made chicken for all the fussy eaters.
I'm like, what do you eat? What do you mean you don't like chicken? What else? What do you eat? You know what else is there? What the hell?
Steak.
Well, she does like red meat apparently, but she's also got too much money. But yeah, doesn't like chicken. So anyway, listen, just before we kind of get into the 12 days of Christmas, by the way, are yours in any particular order? Or
No, they're all mixed up and everything like that.
Yeah,
They jump between ages, places, things like that.
That's absolutely fine. I did the Friday waffle last night, and before I jump onto that, what could you summarise the last 12 months of video games? What do you think there's been any significant happenings? What's been the trends? What's been the patterns? Has there been anything bad happen?
Do you know
think
what?
In the last 12 months or
well, everyone. Well, I say everyone. Sony pissing and moaning about obviously Microsoft's purchase of Activision. I'm like, do you know what? Right, all this.
Oh, right.
You can.
What was that?
Sony's pissing and moaning, and they're trying to get a hand in stopping Microsoft's purchase of Activision. Even though they've said, Microsoft has said, it's not going to stop the Call of Duty games coming out on PlayStation, because why would you when you make that much money from it? And it's just it just makes me laugh, because everyone's got exclusives and everything like this, and it's funny because all the Sony people, because I'm a Microsoft guy. I'm not a fanboy, but I'm a Microsoft guy just because the way the console works for me, and I like the way they do things online.
Yeah,
I've got a Series S, and whenever someone finds out that I've got I've got an Xbox or like Microsoft and stuff, the first thing you always say is, "I bet you love those exclusives." So Microsoft come along and try and do something about that and buy Activision, and they bought Bethesda and all that stuff, and all of a sudden now Sony's going, "It's not fair, it's not fair," and it's like, well, you've been taking the piss out of me for fucking 5 years, saying where are your exclusives, and now that they come along and done this, you're saying it's not fair, it's not fair, it's not fair. It's like it's video games. It's one-upmanship. It's like that's what you do. It's just like I don't understand why it just causes such fucking arguments and shit in the in the community and stuff like that, and everyone suddenly starts to go, we can't have this, we can't have this. Why not? Why not? You've been ramming exclusives down our throats for the last fucking 5 years, and now it looks like Microsoft is trying to do something about it, and it's not fair.
So you've not got a PlayStation 5 at all, have you?
No.
Do you intend to buy one?
No. And also, for the record, because I've played my brothers, it's absolutely amazing. It's absolutely fantastic. I've always been like this. I just prefer the way Microsoft works online and stuff like that. I have no allegiance as such. If something suits me and I'm comfortable with it, I'm a creature of comfort, then I won't change it.
Yeah. No, I'm the same. I mean, I've got a PlayStation 4, but I managed to get a Series X about maybe 6 months ago, and I'm stupidly addicted to Power Wash Simulator. I played that for about 3 hours tonight. I thought I'm going to watch some Christmas films, but I'll just finish.
Isn't Quick Resume the greatest thing in the world ever?
It is. It's a thingy. It's like witchcraft. So I thought to myself, I'll just finish Power Wash and the Helter Skelter, and then and then before I knew, I was power washing a bloody treehouse, and I was stupidly excited. I have just bought myself a professional power wash, so I'm going to be able to power wash stuff in twice as quick. Have you played it at all? No,
I have not.
Don't. Absolutely.
I've heard it. You're not the first person to tell me that it can consume quite a large chunk of your life quite quickly and easily.
And it is utterly pointless. If I was to describe it, have you played Splatoon?
Yes.
Well, imagine playing that in reverse. That's kind of what Power Wash Simulator is, except you're not fighting against anybody. It's just stupid. And you know what? I mean, you've got it breaks, like, if you imagine a house, it'll see like front door, and you get a wee kind of like, it's not a power bar, you get a little indicator at the top, like the dirt meter, we'll call it. And as you power wash the dirt, it kind of goes down, so obviously you've got less dirt. And you think you've done it, and it will say like you've cleaned the 99% of the house, and you've got to go around with a fine tooth comb looking
and find that one speck. I could be into that. That's totally up my.
I've never been so addicted to a ridiculous game. You could even describe it as not a game. It's just, I don't know what it is about it, but it's one of these ones that just consumes your life. So don't. It's not big or clever, kids. Take it from me.
The other thing I will quickly say about this year is it was a very good year for minis. I love this so much.
Have you got the the up to date firmware and that on it now? Yeah.
No, they haven't their updating of the firmware is a bit pants on this. So it still has a few issues with certain ROMs and things like that. In fact, I would say their updating of the firmware has been absolutely crap, but there are ways around it, editing text files and stuff like that, but I'm just lazy. I just play the ROMs at the wrong speed, but 90% of stuff on it works absolutely fine. And because my brother had an Amiga, but I was in Mega Drive town, and I kind of just the whole Amiga experience, because I was a snob, I was just like, look at my Mega Drive, it's so much better than your Amiga. I understand it's a console, not a computer. So the whole Amiga thing just went completely by me. So this really is more so than any of the other minis. Reliving a massive chunk of my childhood I missed because I was such a snob with Mega Drive. But the other one I got as well because I had to.
Ah, right. So what's the difference between that and the other one?
It's got Mega CD on it.
Oh, it's got Mega CD support. Oh, right.
And it's got 62 different games on it from the first one. And you could argue because my first one's hacked and pretty much has the entire Mega Drive library, there is no reason for me to own this whatsoever other than the Mega CD stuff. I couldn't help it because minis are my crack. The other thing that's got on it really good is they did a modern version of Space Harrier 2 with using whatever is inside this to see what Space Harrier 2 would be like if it had proper sprite scaling done within the parameters of the Mega Drive. And it's great. It's a bit flickery, but it's great. But also there's a version of Space Harrier on there, which was never on the Mega Drive, which does proper sprite scaling and is fantastic. It's like, what would Space Harrier be like on the Mega Drive if the Mega Drive had sprite scaling, but we're not talking about the level that the arcade had? Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah. But ultimately, I had to get it because obviously I'd have a gap on my shelf in my mini collection, and my OCD could never live with that.
Apparently, I think the PlayStation Mini is now a thing worth owning. I think you told me that actually.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've borderline got almost the entire library on. Well, I say on mine across many memory sticks on mine, but.
Yeah, I've got a few. Actually, I bought myself. I managed to get an NES Mini about 6 months ago, and you know what? I got it. I opened it up and I put it on the shelf, and it's never moved from the shelf yet. But what's your thoughts on the Mister? We're going to get back to track. What have you?
Do you know what? I know very, very, very little about it. I was listening to your last week, Friday at Waffle, and you were talking about it a little bit. So you've ordered it from China or something? Do you believe you don't have it yet? One of your friends ordered it or something?
One of my friends has ordered two, one for her and one for myself. But yeah, it's one of these things. My initial impression, or my initial, when I heard about it, I'm like, well, it doesn't do any more than a PC. It doesn't do any more than a Raspberry Pi, whatever. But I'm starting to kind of come round that I need one, and the reason being is I've still got a shitload of stuff in this house of mine. I went to play my PC Engine about, I don't know, a couple of months ago. Well, this is a stupid thing to say. It was working the last time I used it, but then that applies to anything. It was working the last time I used it. Took it to the computer club, plugged it in, and it was just coming up like blue. A kind of blue screen. You could see everything, but everything was blue. And then one of my kind of viewers said that apparently with PC engines, they were never designed to last 40 years, 30 years. And it says it's not a question of if it dies, it's when it dies. It's the type of, it's the sort of architecture of the chips that if you've got a PC engine, it will 100% stop working eventually. And when it stopped working...
So what they're basically saying is I should never, because my holy grail would be a Duo, and I should probably not get that then because it will basically die.
Well, I've got a Duo. That's interesting. You're looking for a Duo, are you? I might know somebody that's selling one, mate.
What output does it have? Because here's the thing, on the subject of stuff dying, I moved my gaming monitor from my bedroom. I use my gaming monitor for my Series S, and it's now my multi-function all-in-one TV. Use all my consoles on it because like I said, I'm a creature of habit. I had an HD TV, I'll say a retro TV. I had an HD TV that I've had since David Tennant's Easter special on Doctor Who. That's how old it was. But it was perfect, and I loved it. And I was playing it one day when I came home from work, and I thought, "What's that god awful acrid smell in here?" And then I looked up, and smoke was pluming out the top of it. It was 12 years old, basically. And
this is the TV you're talking about, yeah.
And then so I moved in my game monitor, and then I forgot the thing about HD, because this is the reason I kept it. The thing about HD TVs of a certain age is they had everything on the back that you could plug it into.
Yeah.
So it had 2 HDMI ins, it had composites, it had 2 RGB SCART sockets, and unfortunately, this gaming monitor has just got HDMI.
Well, see this, see that big TV there? That's a plasma I had. That's a 50-inch plasma. I had a 42-inch plasma, which I bought in 2007, and it eventually gave up the ghost about 6 months ago. And I bought that bad boy for £40. It was it was a 10-mile drive. I got it for 40 quid. It's got, as you say, it's got 3 SCARTs. It's got HDMI. It's got 3 HDMIs. It's got composite. It's got component. It's got
components. The one is I mean, I've got an HDMI converter for my Wii, but components so handy.
Yeah, and the big plus, especially now, is you don't have to bother putting the central heating on when you use it.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, it's like t-shirts off. It's like, whoa. Honestly, when Eva's playing bloody Splatoon, whatever, I'll come in, you can actually feel the heat radiating from this thing. It's probably, I can see my meter going 100 miles an hour. But no, I mean, these are brilliant TVs. Yeah. But anyway, listen, let's... well, in fact, I think I was talking about on yesterday's Friday Waffle. Yes, I mean, that just to kind of recap, what was there any new consoles came out this year? The Steam Deck came out.
Yeah, Steam Deck came
which
out.
I've got, and it's fantastic. It really is. I love it to bits. Let me think. And one of my friends.
The Amico never came out.
The Amico, what the hell is that? What was that?
The Intellivision Amico. This one completely it's another one of those massive. Is it a scam? Is it not a scam? I don't think it was intended to be a scam from the start. And then
Amico.
Yeah, I forget the name of the bloke who did it now. I'm sure someone can bring it up. But yeah, it was supposed to come out, and it was another one of those.
The Intellivision.
Yeah, Intellivision Amico.
So what was that, like an Intellivision Mini or something? Or
no, it was a brand new console.
Oh right.
With joypads that were basically screens. Yeah,
no, that just sounds bloody scam written all over it. I'm sorry, but
I think it was started probably with good intentions, but it was just completely and utterly mismanaged by.
Yeah, I'll tell you, sorry to interrupt. I saw is it Nostalgia Nerd? He put out a video last week or the week before. There's a Kickstarter for, it's called like the ultimate monitor, and I think it's like I don't know if it's a CRT, but it's got every single input that you could care to think of, and it's been designed, with retro gamers in mind. So that's one you might want to double check.
I'll have to look this up.
Yeah, it's Nostalgia Nerd put out a video.
The minute you said that, my brain immediately just went, "Why has someone not done this years ago?"
Yeah,
the retro community's been going massively strong for at least 15 years, hasn't it? So,
but like I said, I've got one there, 40 quid.
Yeah.
But so I mean, we got the Steam Deck. Have you tried the Steam Deck? Have you seen them?
I have not. I saw one in my local CEX for £546.
Jesus, well, you can buy them now. I don't know if you know that I didn't even really mean to buy it. I'd pre-ordered one 2 years ago whenever it first got announced, and I paid my £4 deposit, and then I promptly forgot all about it, and then I got a credit of £4 from Steam. I'm like, what the hell is this? And I realised it says, because you never took out the option to buy your Steam Deck. We're going to refund your £4. And then I wanted to get a Mister, and then Misters became completely unavailable. And I thought, fuck it, I'll put a deposit down a Steam Deck. I'm not going to get it till probably like February, March next year.
I'll worry I'll worry about paying for it then.
Yeah, paid the £4. 2 days later, I looked at my bank statement, my credit card statement, and I had like 450. What the fuck? And I went in, it's like, your Steam Deck's been dispatched. I'm like, oh, bollocks. So I've now got it, but I have to say it's great. I mean, it's an emulation platform. It's the dog's bollocks. It does everything. It does PlayStation 2. It does, I think it even does PlayStation 3. It does Switch. It does Wii U. You name it. You plug it into a little docking thing and you can play it on your big TV. Graphic wise, it's probably about the same as a PlayStation 4. You know, I don't know. And I actually read somewhere that apparently, I don't know if it's more powerful than a PlayStation 5, but there was a video I watched and it said, I don't know what it is. I'm the least technical person ever, but it's super fast for emulation. But you can also play BioShock. You can play all your Steam games on a handheld or on a big TV as well. So it's really good. I mean, if space is a premium, then get yourself a Steam Deck and it will basically cover all bases. So yeah, I got the Steam Deck. That was one. I can't think of anything else.
I can't.
I know I was watching a video talking about have you got a Switch yet? Did you ever get a Switch? You never got one?
No, it seems a bit late now. Because can't be long to the next variant's out, surely. Well, not variant, you know what I mean, because obviously the OLED was the variant, the next model. Yeah,
well, some people were saying apparently some new games they're struggling to run. You're getting like drops in frame rate and that kind of stuff. So I think it is only a matter of time before a new Switch comes out. But yeah, I mean, for me personally, I think it's been a fairly uninspiring year. I mean, I don't get excited. I don't buy new games, so I'm probably the wrong kind of target market. I mean, what big games came out this year? Was there anything apart from FIFA 22, or is it FIFA 23 now?
Well, I was going to say that, and then I used to like COD. I don't like COD anymore. I'm trying to think of big games that come out. God of War, but that's on a system that I can't play. Ragnarok. That's quite recent, obviously. See, the thing is for me, right? Outside of my current generation is a Series S. So me playing games on the Series S is now, because my previous console was an Xbox One, it's completely changed the experience because I can't play physical copies on it.
Mm-hmm.
I have to download to it. So the whole how I purchase games now is sat on my ass in my room, which is, oh, so-and-so's out, I'll just buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Click. An hour later, I've got it. It's completely changed I wouldn't say the excitement, because just the end product is you still get to play the game that you really want to play. But there is definitely something in the fact that, I'll go downtown and get that new game I want. And now I just don't. I don't leave the house if I want to buy a new game.
Yeah. You've not got the expectation, the build up to getting it, the excitement of getting it, and of course you don't have the manual or anything like that at all.
Also, I don't understand, because they gave you the option to do it, but why would you pre-order a digital game? But it's a digital game. It just shows up in the store. I mean, I know like bells and whistles and benefits and stuff like that, but yeah, no. Why would you pre-order a digital game?
But yeah, I think we're both agreed. 2022, there was really nothing. It's quite a lackluster. So, can you move that forwards? Where do you think video games are going to go? What are we going to see in the next 5 years, do you think?
I think now, thanks to the Quest, that we are going to start seeing stupidly insane virtual reality, self-contained ones, which I'm fine with because I love my Quest.
Yeah.
I think Microsoft and their unlimited checkbook are just going to keep purchasing studios. I hope when we get to the next generation, and it may, touch wood, may sound a bit silly and soon to talk about that now, that they just handle the launch a whole lot better than they did the previous one. Because I still know, I mean, if you really look, you can get them, but that's kind of still a pain in the ass. But I still know people who want a PlayStation 5 and they can't get one.
Even
and
now,
it's
seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, that must be about 2 years since it came out, eh?
I know that's entirely dependent upon where you live, but
Yeah.
I mean, from day one they've always been in CX and Jack's Cash, which is the one next to CX now. Jack's Cash, crappiest name ever. It's had PlayStation 5s and Xbox Series X's since launch. And whereas you'd have to pay a premium, CX were charging 700 quid for PlayStation 5. Jack's Cash was charging 550, which I didn't think was too bad. And they never actually charged more than the retail price for the Series X.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just hope when we get to the next generation, its launch is handled a lot better than this. That's partly the reason why I got a Series S in the end, was I couldn't be asked to wait for our find a Series X.
Yeah. I mean, I remember. I think I talked about it in a waffle a while back. So, this was the first time that what is. It's madness that you can't. It's madness that you can't go into a shop and buy something. I mean, if a pair of trainers comes out or whatever, or a new TV comes out, you can go into Amazon and order there and then. But why do we have a problem with consoles? But I think, I mean, obviously, was it the Wii? That was one of the hardest consoles to get a hold of for a long, long time, wasn't it?
And all of a sudden, the PlayStation 2 launch looks like it was absolutely perfect.
I remember being at my work and I had like the website. I think I had an app on my phone that it came up. Oh, there's Wii's in Glasgow and Smith's Toy Store in Glasgow. Shit. Insane. But I'm sure what about the Xbox 360? Or like the N64? Was there ever a short?
N64 was pretty hard to get. 360. I wasn't in the country, so I don't know what it was like here. But I know it was quite hard to get in Canada.
You had to pre-order them, if I remember rightly. I did get one. I got one a couple of months after it came out. Have you ever bought any console like on day one?
PlayStation 2. I actually got the pre-order. Yeah. Because and I had a PlayStation 1, not on launch, but it was before the UK launch.
Mm-hmm.
And my Mega Drive was before the UK launch.
Yeah.
And my Super Famicom. But then the thing is about the Mega Drive that I only found out the other day, because obviously I don't really care for power machines, and even didn't care for power machines back then. But Genesis was 1989. Mega Drive in Japan was 1988. I got my Japanese Mega Drive in very early 1989. It never made it to the UK until 1990.
Is that right? Yeah.
It's fucking 2 years after its Japanese launch. That's shocking. And it was a crap power machine that was shocking.
It's funny. I never really got the whole PAL thing or NTSC.
Oh, I got my Oculus Quest 2 on launch as well.
Yeah. Oh, you've got the second one, have you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got that as well. Did you hear about my? Sorry, everyone else is going to be bored shitless. Did you hear about the carry on that I had with my Quest? Did you hear about it?
Because this is the thing I said from day one. The minute that Facebook bought Quest was, what happens if my account gets hacked?
Like me.
Now we know.
Yeah.
But they were supposed to have introduced the option for you to do it without that months ago.
Yeah.
But then he's getting a kick in, isn't he, as well? The bloke who owns that. So.
Aye, but they eventually got it fixed. But by that time, I'd created a new account and gone on and just pirated the software. I thought, well, if you can't give me back my
I'll
original,
do it myself.
Exactly. So I've now got my dodgy account, and I've got my Mamemeister account with. They gave me £50 credit as well, but I've got all the games, So, yeah, I do like you. You've not got the ability to play it, or like you can't play PC VR games, can you?
No.
Half-Life Alex. If you ever get a chance to play that,
I've seen it. I've seen many videos and many
jaw-dropping. Yeah. It is absolutely even to the point, you pick up like a can and you're looking at it and you're turning it around. You've got the light reflection on it, and you're trying to say to yourself, this is not real. It's mind blowing. It really is. But anyway, listen, we're going to try and we don't want this to go on too late because we've still got some films we want to watch. So what we're going to do is we're going to call it the 12 Days of Christmas, and Dave and myself have picked 12 gaming memories, whatever it is, that were special. So in no particular order, I'm going to go first. Number one, again, these are in no order. A big. Now you've done a video. You did a video. I think it was last year, the year before. A huge part of Christmas past. I'm not talking about Christmas now. Christmas past was getting the TV times, getting the radio times, and looking to see what films and TV programs were coming out.
Getting out your chunky markers.
Yeah, and circle what you were going to watch. It's for anyone, I don't know, anyone that's younger than probably 30 years old, be thinking, what the fuck is he talking about? You know, it was quite funny. The guy at my work was trying to explain to his daughter, who's 8, that it wasn't always TV on demand. You actually had to. You would
be in front of the set.
You had to. Yeah, you had to be sat in front of your TV at a particular time to watch a particular program. She just could not. She just couldn't compute. She couldn't understand that at all. And it's actually quite weird now when you think about it, because I don't watch any live TV. Don't watch, apart from like things like maybe the football or whatever, but I don't watch any live TV. Yeah, so we're talking like, you know, the 70s. I mean, when did Sky first become a thing?
1980,
89, maybe
89.
Yeah, I mean, I never got it until years later, but most people probably didn't have it until probably mid 90s. So prior to like 1995, you know, you could, you could, were DVDs a thing in 1995?
97, I think.
Yeah. So back then it was videotapes, but let's talk about the early 80s, mid 70s, 80s. Yeah, a film would come out in the pictures, and then you had to wait about 5-6 years to see it. I think something like that, was it? It depended, I think.
Yeah, it was come out of the movies. Then it would be, and in the 80s, it was at least a year until it hit video, and then in the 90s they dropped that to 6 months. But then you would go into the video store and they'd have stickers on the, because I remember there being a sticker on the front of Batman, Tim Burton's Batman, saying, "This will not be on Sky Television for 18 months." Do you remember those stickers? Because then it was with DVDs, as soon as it came out to rent, it came out to buy. But yeah, like you said, originally it used to be a massive like wait.
Yeah. And obviously you had when video recorders came out, or video players, whatever you want to call them, came out, you could go to your CD video shop, and you could buy like Videodrome or Quadrophenia for like £100.
You could have, Can I have a look at the stuff you got in the room out back, please, mate?
But yeah, it was something super magical about. When did these things come out? Was it like the beginning of December? Was it? I can't remember. It probably would be.
Yeah.
Come out the month.
I bought one this year. I bought TV times, and because the only time of the year I watch live TV is Christmas, apart from football and stuff like that. But yeah, it's Christmas, and I kind of do it deliberately, just as a big nostalgia trip to when I was a kid, because what a big deal it was. Because it used to be all the TV companies would break out the big guns, wouldn't they? And they'd try scramble around and get moderately new movies for the time.
I'm trying to think. I can't think of any. What films were premiered at Christmas?
Well, it ties directly into my first memory, so I'm not going to spoil it.
Right, okay, yeah. I don't know, something like maybe Empire Strikes Back. What was it?
It was
Towering Inferno. Towering Inferno, was that not one maybe, or was that on every year? Or the Poseidon Adventure? That was on every year.
There's always a Bond movie on. Christmas,
possibly.
Easter, always a Bond movie. No, Empire Strikes Back got its first terrestrial TV show at Christmas.
Is it really? Of course.
That's also one of my memories.
Wizard of Oz as well. That was always a staple diet of Christmas TV. But yeah, so apart from the films, that was always a big thing. Bloody, I'm going to get to see Jaws or whatever. But yeah, it was all there was like 4 channels.
But you had to buy 2 guides as well. Do you remember?
What was that?
Because TV Times covered what? ITV Channel 4, in Radio Times covered BBC 1, BBC 2.
Yeah, that's right.
It was only until about 20 years ago where they were allowed to cover all of them.
Oh, right. So
which means at one point you were buying a TV guide for 1 channel because there was no Channel 4. So you literally had to buy a TV guide for ITV. That's a bit shit. Especially when when I bought TV Times this year, it was a £4.
£4. I'll tell you, I was I was at Morrison's a couple of days ago, and there was a guy selling the big issue, and I always like to buy it because it's quite a good read. And I thought, so I walked past him, and I thought, right, I'll go into my wallet, and I pulled out a fiver. I thought I'll give him a couple of quid extra. And I said, how much is it, mate? He went, £5. All right, there you go. £5. There we go. Blame bloody Brexit and the petrol prices.
The
But,
Beano.
yeah.
I bought my Christmas Beano. The Beano's £4. Christ alive! When I read the Christmas Beano when I was a kid, it was 20p.
And don't get me started about my girlfriend bought the latest Bruce Springsteen album on vinyl for her brother, and it was 35.
Is that the one where he doesn't look like himself on the cover?
Yeah, it is.
He looks really weird.
He really can't go.
Someone's had some work done, I would say.
But 35 quid. So anyway, yeah.
Jesus, on vinyl, fucking hell.
That's my first.
I would have taped it off the radio.
That's my first Christmas memory. Over to yourself, sir.
Well, it kind of ties into what you were talking about. One of my favorite Christmas memories ever, because as you know, my favorite movie of all time is Back to the Future. It's the greatest movie ever made in the history of mankind. If anyone disagrees with me, that's fine, but they are wrong. We backed the wrong horse in the format wars back in the day. We had a Betamax, so we could go to your local store and buy videotapes. And Back to the Future, I saw it a couple of times in the cinema. Like, literally was my favorite movie from day one. And I remember when it was screened for its first terrestrial showing in this country, it was on BBC One on Christmas Day in 1987.
Was it really? So
yeah, and that was huge in my world. Absolutely huge in my world. Actually, when you think about it now, because you always think like they took forever and forever and forever, but in 1987, like, so the mid 80s, 2 years from cinema to BBC One's really not that bad. But yeah, that was a huge deal. So taped it. Obviously, it was on BBC One, so you didn't have to worry about cutting out the commercials or anything like that. And until we got a VHS, that was my copy of Back to the Future, and I wore it out.
How many times have you watched it, do you think? Or could you not possibly
I was Back to the Future at least once a week.
Yeah. Seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah, really? Wow.
And it still makes me tense when they're going up the clock tower. How is that still a thing? Like, why am I still pensive? Like, oh, I hope he goes back to the future. Of course he does, Dave, you dumbass.
Have you seen the stage play, by the way, yet?
No. We were going to go, but then COVID happened. But yeah.
I was down in London about 6 months ago, and I went to see it. I just went to see it myself, and it is epic. It is fantastic. It really. I was thinking, you know, you're sitting there in front of a stage, like, how can they possibly recreate the DeLorean and all that? And you know, it's a guy is going to be pulling on a bit of rope, you know, driving off and all that kind of stuff. But wow, they've absolutely blown it away. It's not going to be as good as the film, obviously, because there's no Michael J. Fox or Christopher Lloyd, but it's phenomenal. The guys that play the parts play it a blinder. The guy that plays McFly, what do you call him? His dad.
George.
George, yeah, he's just absolutely fantastic. But yeah, if you get a chance to see it, go and see it. It's absolutely phenomenal. So when did Back to the Future come out? Was it Christmas
1985?
Was it 1985? I know. I'm sure I saw it. Was it January 85? It came
summer.
out?
I'm pretty sure it was summer.
Oh, it was in the summer.
But then, obviously, different. We don't, because particularly in the 80s, we didn't get film. Global releases are a relatively recent-ish thing, like the early 2000s, aren't they? It's like Star Wars. The original Star Wars and New Hope was a summer film in America and a Christmas film here. But no, I'm pretty sure Back to the Future was a summer film here. But then I was 9 at the time, so even though it blew me away in the cinema, I actually committing the date to my head of when it came out.
So when did you know that Back to the Future was getting broadcast on Christmas Day 1987? Was it when you got
in the commercials, when they used to, like, when I said we had broke out the big guns and it goes, coming this Christmas on BBC, we had that smug bastard voice when he reads out everything. And then all the old Christmas idents are still on YouTube and they're brilliant. So if you
I love watching these. I could sit and watch that hour.
And you think, like, and I know it was like late 70s and very early 80s, but some of the times you watch their Christmas idents and you think, wow, you've made absolutely fuck all effort for Christmas, BBC. But no, Back to the Future was a biggie for me. Like, that was my copy until I got on VHS.
Yeah, Colin's saying there it came out on the 3rd of July 1985. There you go. I went on
And
a
forever
date.
changed my life.
Yeah, I went on a date with Julie to see that, and then she never wanted to see me after that. Don't know what happened there. Anyway, yeah, excellent. No arguments on that one. Fantastic. Right, my number 2 was in the autumn. Your mum's catalogue would arrive, and it wasn't the dull spring summer edition. It was the autumn winter one.
When like that chunk of the end was nothing but toys.
Yeah, how brilliant was that? Just leafing through. What do I want? And I don't think I actually circled stuff, but I would tell my mum, I always remember there was an electronic motorbike. It was like a wee sit-on motorbike, and also that would be great. But I think I was way too old. But yeah, it was like £150 or something. But yeah, I was. There was always maybe half a dozen things that you wanted, and I knew if I was lucky, I would maybe get 2. Whereas my best mate at the time, Derek, he always got everything.
But he never got the grifter.
He never got. Oh, spoiler! Yep, he never got the grifter. He never got the grifter. He did get my grifter for one day for whatever reason. Anyway, we'll talk about that one later on. But yeah, picking toys from the catalogue, and maybe it was just me, but as we got nearer to Christmas, I would dig out the catalogue and I would just sit and look at it. Oh, can't wait to get that. And you would read the little blurb, and at the bottom it would say 16 pence per week for 52
That's
weeks.
right. I bought Altered Beast on the Sega Master System like that. I'd long since sold it. We're still paying it off. Fucking 8 weeks.
Yeah, you can't beat that. Have you ever looked at? There's a website and it's all the Argos catalogues.
I have not, but I need to now.
You need to. It's bloody awesome. Yeah, the only unfortunate thing is you can't download them. You've got to kind of do it on the browser. But yeah, looking at like 1980, 1984 Argos, whatever, just brilliant. So yeah, that was my number 2. Back to yourself.
My number 2 is, and this is my earliest Christmas memory, and it was when I got a plastic police trike. So I would have been about 4, and it snowed that year. And I can remember a very, a memory which is I was in the car with my mum and my gran and both my brothers when we were coming back from town back then. So it would have been from like a department store like Debenhams or John Lewis. And apparently I knew that it was in the back of the car and kept turning around like that. And my mum said, no, stop looking in the back, stop looking in the back, stop looking in the back. And came up with some story that it was like, I had to pick it up for Santa. He was too busy. And I remember it because it had a windshield and it had a little blue light, which was basically a torch. And you turn the light on, it will flash.
Was that like powered? It wasn't.
No, it was pedal.
No.
But it was still plastic. And it snowed that year, and so we took it out because I can remember this. Took it out onto the front garden in the snow, and I tried to pedal it, and I couldn't because it was snow and it had plastic wheels, and I burst into tears. I don't know if I was more upset about the fact that the trike didn't work or I was a shit policeman.
But I do remember that. Yeah.
But after the initial failure of catching the perp, because I couldn't power it in the snow, when the snow went, I remember I loved that trike. Absolutely loved that trike.
So,
and it wasn't literally, it wasn't a bike with stabilized on. It was literally a plastic trike because, like I said, I was 4, but it had pedals and it had a flashing police light and police across the front, and that was fantastic.
I do remember. What year are you talking about?
So I would have been like 1979, maybe 1980.
Yeah, I think I do remember that. I'm sure I remember that. Yeah.
But yeah, awesome. it came. So it would have been in the catalogs because if it was in a department store, then it would have been in the catalogs. But yeah, fucking love that bike.
Wonder if anybody got a C5 for Christmas. That'd be some present. That
I'm pretty sure that would have worked in the snow either. Probably short out.
There's a guy in Edinburgh drives about in his C5.
Legend.
I went out for a cycle a couple of years ago in Edinburgh, and I was going across a bridge and a guy in a C5 went another way, and I'm like, holy shit.
Did you do a double take? Did you pinch yourself? You like?
Actually, I'm sure I did put a video. I put it out. I did put a video on my channel for it. It's like 7-second video, but yeah, fantastic.
Oh, see, I wonder how many of them got taken out by truck drivers who couldn't see them. They're just going along, and it was like boom, 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 boom. What was that?
How many have actually sold of these things? Do you know?
Not a lot.
Right, yeah.
Why didn't I have the foresight as a kid instead of, because you know I love Supply, so instead of laugh at them when they were all reduced to nothing because they failed, to not go, here's a potential future investment here.
I'll have one of these. Where did you actually buy them? Could you buy them in like Argos or that?
I don't know. Well, they couldn't have been mail order, could they? Were they like Spectrum? You had two. You built one yourself. It was cheaper. No, they must have been available in a showroom or something. Like, were they like Halfords or something? Well, here's the thing: would they have been in a bike store or a car store?
I don't even remember ever actually seeing them for sale anywhere. I don't even remember seeing them getting advertised. I mean, I've seen the advert for them.
Put it this way, they were adjusted for inflation. I once bought a Mini Cooper for the same price. What would you rather have?
Awesome. Right, my number 3, and you've kind of touched on it already, the Rally Grifter. Wow, that's easily my best ever Christmas present. I don't know I've no idea where my dad hid it, but I can't even remember. I must have asked for it. And I can still remember walking downstairs and putting the lights on and just seeing the glittery metallic paintwork. It was an absolute thing of beauty. I really, really wish I still had it. I mean, I think there are people selling them, but they go for daft money. But
why don't they do what they did with the Rally Burner a few years ago and make like a run of them again?
Yeah, see, that just wouldn't be the same. Don't know, but yeah, it was an absolutely phenomenal. It was a total game changer. I mean, it was pretty much, it was a precursor to the BMX. I mean, this thing weighed an absolute ton. You know, I mean, it really did. It was solid. It had the comfiest bike seat ever, and I include. I
had its little brother, the Striker,
and then you had the Boxer.
Oh, that's right. The Striker had molded plastic shock absorbers on the front, which was stupid because not just because they were plastic and didn't work, but because they were on the handlebars. And I don't know much about shock absorbers, but I'm pretty sure they should be on the wheels.
Did that have gears, the Striker?
No, and it had that weird ticky noise when you rode, but it had the same seat, and I know what you mean about the seat.
It was mega. Yeah, obviously the gears were a thing for adults or for older kids, but yeah, I remember going out on Christmas Day with my grifter, and my mate Derek, who got everything. Foolishly, he asked for a Rally Commando, which just looked completely weedy compared to my grifter. And we ended up swapping bikes for the day. So he was driving about in my grifter, and I was on his Commando. I didn't mind that because I knew that the grifter was.
You were just rubbing salt into the wound.
I was giving him a wee taster of it, you know. But then again, he got the Long Ranger and Tonto and all the accessories that year as well. So yeah. But it was just phenomenal. They didn't wrap. My parents didn't wrap it, but just seeing the kind of Christmas lights glistening on the kind of the metallic paintwork. It was the red one I had. Beautiful. Wonder how big it is. I mean, it seemed quite a big bike.
You're probably thinking of it as the size of like an adult mountain bike now, aren't you? But probably. I'm pretty sure if you look at it now,
probably pretty small, but. And I think
have you not thought about trying to buy one, going the route of eBay?
I have had a look. In fact,
you look pretty stupid on it there, wouldn't you? Let's be honest, because it's probably the size of a kid's bike.
Yeah, let's have a quick look. Let's go. In fact, I've not even logged into bloody eBay, so I can't. Grifter. Right, let's Rally Grifter. There we go.
Bike porn.
See, it does look a bit shit when you see it now.
Does it? Hang on.
It just looks a bit rubbish. It doesn't look anywhere near as good as it did. Yeah. Well, it's still nice. I mean, look at it. Yeah.
It looks far more like a BMX than my brain had. Like,
yeah. I mean, look at that seat. That seat was just awesome, and it
that
had. I
seat
don't know.
just commands comfort.
It does, and I mean that. I don't know what the point. You can't see the mouse point. I don't know what the point of that. What does anybody? In fact, Colin Jones. Colin, you're in tonight. You're the resident cycle expert. What was that? What was the point of that? Other than just to look good.
You just answered the question. To look
There
good.
we go. There's a wee dude. Look at him. He looks chuffed as anything. 19. There's Mark on his rally grifter 1977. Yeah.
He's probably dead now.
Now look,
that's horrible.
That's quite clearly an adult that's been trying to go about. That's why he's fucking up there, eh?
Yeah. That's why it looks weird, isn't it?
I think it probably would be quite small looking. See, it also had these really high kind of whatever they're called, mud guards.
I like that mud guard. That mud guard looks swish.
It was pretty cool. See, the blue one just didn't do it for me.
It's not the same.
There you go. Rough Rider Grift. Is that a new one? Oh, hang on. Oh, fucking hell, what's going on there? I don't know what I've done there. Yeah. What was that? Tough Rider Grifter XL. That looks like it's
That's an adult size, surely, if it says XL. Well, there you go. Get on it.
Yeah, let me have a look at that. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, and it had this thing. I don't quite know what the point of that was. It wasn't going to stop you going over the handlebars, but yeah, and you had the twisty grip, Stormy Archer gears, no less. Anyway, yeah, I'll have a look for one of these. Right, let's take that out. So anyway, that's my number 3 of memories of 12 Days of Christmas. Over to yourself, Squire.
My third, and I did a video about this for my Christmas video a few years ago, but was my first Christmas in Canada, and I had nowhere to go. And everyone else from the office who was an expat was going home. I couldn't afford to. And my relatives, I had some relatives in Toronto, but they'd gone home. I had relatives in America because half my family from my dad's side lives there. And I couldn't afford that. And yeah, literally had nowhere to go. And I was completely resigned to it, accepted my fate, if you will. Had a crappy little store-bought fake Christmas tree in my apartment. And someone from the office who I didn't really know that well at the time and became mates after this, just literally came up to me one day when he found this out and invited me to Christmas at his parents' house. That wasn't even on the island. So, because I was in Montreal, and I don't know if you know Montreal, but it's an island. And then you go off the island, and most people live on the South Shore, called the South Shore because it's a shore and it's on the south. And sorry, and yeah, only him and his sister and his girlfriend spoke English. And yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. It was my first Christmas in Canada, nowhere to go, and I was absolutely blown away that some person I really didn't know that well, became amazing buddies after this, invited me over. Supplied me with booze, party games, stuff like that, Christmas presents, big Tupperware box of cold cuts, because I'm one of those people, when people go, oh, got loads of turkey left over. That's the best fucking bit about Christmas. Living off turkey cold cuts for a fucking week. That's fantastic. And it's the thing about Montreal is it always snows, guaranteed snow at Christmas. But unlike here, it doesn't shut the country down. And that was it. Yeah, that's one of my favorite Christmas memories. Obviously, I'm an adult at this point. I think I'm like 27 then. And yeah, it was just like the fact that someone who really didn't know you that well in a different country, where his family's basically French Canadian, invited you to spend Christmas with them. Fantastic. Awesome. Yeah, one of my favorite Christmas memories ever. Yeah. And it also, as I said in my video, it reminded you that it's still Christmas to some people is still about the Christmas spirit and not just
I mean corporate... Christmas is kind of sold as the time for giving and being kind and all that. But I think it's the opposite, unless people, when you go up to the shops, people they'll not give you the time of day, unless you're part of the family. So how many people have invited a stranger to their house for Christmas?
Exactly.
I've never done it. I'm ashamed to say. Never ever
I've never
it.
done it. You would, and in fact, now I'm even more ashamed because you would have thought that would have settled in a little bit, and I would have been like, "Shit, I should do that."
Mm.
But yeah,
Yeah.
like I said, it was the act, you know, more than anything else. But that certainly added to the Christmas feeling and just made it fantastic.
So were you prepared? I mean, I did watch your video. Yeah, it was a couple of years ago. Were you prepared? Did you know that you were going to be spending Christmas on your own that year?
Yeah,
You'd settled in. You'd got your
I
meals for one,
resigned
you know,
to my
whatever.
fate.
Yeah.
I had basic cable. I was just going to buy a bunch of TV dinners, sit in my pants on my couch watching basic cable.
So when he invited you, did he insist? And you're like, no, I can't do that. And
No, are you kidding? I ripped his hand off.
Yeah. Oh, really? Yeah. No, that's awesome. That is absolutely awesome.
And then the funny thing is, he watched the video, and he left a cryptic message in the comment section.
I think you have you. Do you still keep in touch with him?
Yeah. And so yeah, I ended up talking to him through Messenger that year as well. But yeah, he left a bunch of cryptic clues. He said, "That sounds like a brilliant Christmas. I bet your friend who was there remembers it as fondly as you. Do you remember the theme of the party?" And I was like, "How do you know that?" It's like Tom Riddle's diary in Chamber of Secrets.
No, I think these little spontaneous kind of acts of goodwill are it's nice. I mean, I always remember 3-4 years ago, I was going through a pretty shit time job wise, and I was fucking getting bullied at work basically, and I was at the point, am I going to lose my job? And I remember you phoning me up and says, "Listen, mate, give me your bank details. There's £1,000 coming. you give me it whenever you've got it." And I'm like, "Fucking no!" And that's a true story, you know. And things like that are awesome. You know what I mean? You know, it's yeah. There are lots of nice people in the world. Absolutely.
You just forget, because I guess it's a question of the nastier ones speak louder. The horrible events that have more impact, don't they? It's easier to be. What I'm trying to say is, it's easier to be negative and remember like a shit spell than suddenly just think, "Well, hang about. What about that time? That was amazing."
See, the thing is, though, I mean, doing nice things for people, you know, there are a lot of people in the world that they're just greedy and they just take all the time, and they would never probably think of doing something for somebody else. But what these people don't understand is, when you do something nice for somebody, the sense of fucking the high that you get as an individual,
it's euphoric.
So it's a bit, you're not doing it out of selfishness. But if you do a nice thing for somebody, you fucking feel great. It gives you a massive rush. Really.
And if you do a horrible thing to someone and you
Yeah.
feel great, you're going to hell. So it's all swings and roundabouts.
Absolutely. So no, that's a lovely one. Thank you for sharing that. And I said you did put a video up a couple of years ago. Definitely worth watching. This one, the smell of fruit, or more specifically, the smell of apples. Back in the 70s, you know, we complain about how poor we are at the moment. You know, we moan about how little money.
Well, that was the first cost of living crisis, wasn't it? 70s.
Yeah, back in the, you know, we quite literally had nothing. I mean, I remember growing up in the 70s, and having a power cut was a thing that just happened. It was one of these things that just happened all the time. Yeah, I never thought for any reason why do we have power cuts, but we used to have power cuts all the time. All had candles and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, money was.
I still do where I live. True story.
But money was really hard to come by, and you know, things like takeaways. Never got a takeaway. You know, well, I tell a lie. We would get, my mum and dad would buy us a bag of chips on the odd occasion. That was our takeaway. McDonald's didn't exist. I think Wimpy was a thing back in the 70s, early 80s.
Where you got your burger on a plate.
Like a burger on a plate. Knife and fork. Yeah, I remember that. Jesus. Yeah, so things like that, and things that we take for granted. I can. My mum and dad were fantastic. I was blessed to have two excellent parents, very loving parents, but they didn't have a lot of money. I mean, they both worked hard. My mum was a nurse, my dad was a plumber. They didn't have a lot of spare money, because times were hard, and so things like biscuits. I mean, my mum would buy rich tea. That was, or maybe if you were lucky, you got digestive biscuits. She never ever bought chocolate.
I can remember when Hobnobs came out and what a game changer they were.
I know. We just never got them. On the very, very odd occasion that my mum would buy a packet of chocolate biscuits, she would complain because we'd eaten them all within a day. Now, bear in mind, there was like 5 biscuits and there was 5 of us. Oh, I'm not buying them again because you've just eaten them after a day. You know what I mean? But anyway, I'm kind of going off topic a wee bit. But things like crisps and that, you simply never got them. And even fruit. I mean, my mum used to buy she'd buy I don't know, tangerines or clementines or whatever the hell they're called. I never know the difference. But at Christmas time, she always stocked up the fruit bowl. She always bought satsumas. So what's the difference between a satsuma?
I don't know. They're all small. They're all orange. And when you peel off the orange, they've all got that weird hairy white shit on the inside.
Yeah, the pulp, whatever it is. But she always bought these little easy to peel satsumas, and she always bought these bright red apples, and she used to polish them. She used to shine the apples, and that was like the centerpiece of the Christmas table. And the smell, that was just synonymous with Christmas. My mum would buy the apples, and you could smell the apples. It was weird, but yeah, the smelly fruit. That's my number 4 favourite memory.
Mine is 1988 school snow day. Because as I said, just a little bit of snow shuts everything down in this country. And that's not a recent thing. That's been going on from day one, because the local infrastructure is never invested in. They always go on the assumption we'll worry about it when it happens. Whereas, anyone else in the real country just buys a fucking snowplow, then keeps it handy all year round. So I remember, because it used to be, you would break up on the 22nd of December in my secondary school. And one year we got to break up. And this doesn't sound like a big deal, but when you're a kid and it's Christmas, it's a huge deal. And so I would have been a first year. I would have been a first year going into a second year in 1988. So I would have been still pretty young. So it would have been a big deal. But it started snowing. We all got to school. We weren't breaking up to the next day, but it started snowing. It became apparent that it was not going to stop, and it was getting quite heavy. And obviously back then, because my school was out in the countryside, it was like, shit, we're going to have 1,000 kids stuck here. That's not such a great thing to have to deal with, is it? And so it was literally like a military operation. They called all the bus companies, called as many parents as they could and stuff like that. And we literally got dropped off there. And then an hour and a half later, we all got to go home and didn't have to go back the next day. So we had an extra day of a holiday, but it was just because it was Christmas and it was snowing and we got to go back home. It was just, I know that sounds weird, but it was the whole thing, like snow, stop, school, Christmas needs snow, amazing. And I have loved that memory, which was we were all looking out the windows, basically going like this, going, come on, come on. It's a Christmas miracle, Governor.
I've got memories of primary school, and it started snowing, and you're like, oh, I wonder if we're going to get home. And there was like rumblings, oh, I think we're going to get home. And then you could just hear the class next door going, yeah. You're like, oh, yeah, dancer. You could hear them cheering because we got to go home. But there was always some of the kids that didn't get to go home because their parents worked, whatever. You say it was another day, and I think that plus, I mean, it's not on my list. I was going to put it on my list, but hopefully you've not got that on your list, getting to take toys into school as well, getting to take games, and that was the whole. Well, I think before that, John Noakes lighting the first candle. That was the beginning of Christmas, and then
on the thing that must have burnt down a quarter of the country's houses. The Blue Pizza nativity hanger.
It was absolutely shit seeing a guy light a candle, but it just became again synonymous with Christmas and play school. Bloody what do you call it? Blue Peter lighting the first candle. You knew 4 weeks to Christmas, 3 weeks to Christmas, and then getting to take your toys in, or getting to take your games in for the last week of Christmas. Yeah, awesome. Right, what we're going to go for. Right now, I know this is a favourite one of yours because I've been looking at your Facebook posts the last couple of days. There was I wanted to write that down. I forgot that one. Apart from your main presents, getting the Christmas special annual, that was always awesome, wasn't it? The Christmas special.
The books, when they were called books and not annuals. Annuals was an American thing.
Was it? Most of
the old stuff. Oh no, they were as well. But most of the old school British comics, such as Whizzer and Chips, Beezer, Beano, Dandy, Topper,
Sparky.
Buster,
remember a Sparky?
Yeah, they were all called book.
Were they really? Oh,
yeah, the go. Victor. No, actually, Victor was annual, and 2000 AD was annual. See, it upsets me as an adult that now the Beano and Dandy are called the annual, because I'm like, but why did you change? It was always cool that you were the book.
I always called them annuals.
They were, but
yeah.
But the British ones, like the DC Thompson stuff, which is Scottish, isn't it?
Yeah.
They were all books. Yeah, that was a big deal. I mean, I've got a huge Beano book collection, like massive Beano book collection. Goes back to my oldest Beano book's 1942, I think.
Wow, you don't look that old, mate. Honestly, you're wearing.
I know.
You're wearing.
I'm Dorian Gray. There's a painting in the attic. I can't show anyone.
But yeah, there was just something special, and I'm going to actually. There was something really special about getting the annual. You got the comics, but then they always had like a glorious hard. It was cardboard, and it was like glossy,
yeah,
coloured in. It was brilliant.
And it smelled, didn't it? You opened it up, and it just smelled fantastic.
I did actually.
High as a kite off the ink.
I started writing the smell of Christmas special annuals, and I wrote and I scored that out, and I just wrote Christmas. So I was going to say the smell as well. Yeah, it was.
Those vintage Beanos I showed on Facebook, they smell amazing when you open them up.
Are they fused? Are they fusty?
Yeah. They weren't like stored in damp or anything like that. So like they're not like you open it up and it smells like half a trout. They smell fantastic. People were walking by me like some sort of retard, so I just go.
What was it about your when your relatives gave you an annual? They always insisted on fucking writing on it. Eh?
Oh, I hated that. And
stop writing on my bloody annual.
Do you remember it had the price, and you had to cut it off at an angle because it would have the line, wouldn't it? I hated that as well. Because I'm like, even as a kid, but I'm like, I don't care. I'm not going to go up to you and go, "Oh, well, you spent, you cheap bastard." It's like, no, I want it. And the thing is, if you collect annuals, which I do, that affects the price.
Why did they have the little dotted line that went up at an angle? It was because they obviously thought we're too stupid to know how to cut the price off it.
There you go, mate. You just need to do a line. Don't sit there, cack-handed and plucking away with a pair of tweezers or something.
You cut it so like no, you only have to go.
Maybe they thought some dumb bastard would just go and take the entire page out.
Fuck it, I'll not read page one anyway. But yeah, getting annuals, and I'm going to kind of shoehorn a little extra bit into this one. Selection boxes. Now, again, going back to my point about wimpy and takeaways and all that kind of stuff. Back in the 70s, you didn't get chocolate. Chocolate was a treat. Nowadays, you go to Morrison's. When I go to Morrison's, you buy the packs for bloody.
It's no coincidence. No one had diabetes back then.
Yeah, exactly. And there's probably less obesity as well. But there was. Christmas was a time for getting stuff that you never ever got.
Do you remember the Christmas selection boxes that were done in stockings?
That's the one I was going to say. There was something magical about that. It had like the cardboard foot, and then it had the white netting.
That's it.
You put your hand inside to grab. No, I don't want the spangles. I want to try and get the Texan.
You'd always give the finger a fudge away because they were shit.
Yeah,
Actually,
and
no,
then, I
but
mean,
what you just said, but no, you wouldn't. Even back then, and I don't like nuts, but even back then, you ate the one with nuts because it was chocolate. You
aye.
never got it as much,
And I mean, do you
Oh, well,
even
actually, I
take?
ate around the nuts, to be fair, and then threw them in the fire.
Did you ever? Do you actually? Do you still get selection boxes? I know
Yeah,
you
but they
get a
don't do.
lot,
I'm pretty sure they don't
like
do the
90.
stocking.
No, you don't. I don't think you do. And I mean, most of the ones you get now are like 99 pence. It would be an M, whatever. But you don't, because if you gave, can you imagine giving like the iPad generation a fucking Christmas stocking, or a selection box? You'd be like, I bought 5 of them yesterday. Again, they get too much now, but yeah, getting that net stocking, my granny always gave it for me. And what my mum used to do is she always gave us a shoebox. So as soon as we Christmas was over, we opened up everything. We tipped everything into the shoebox, and we had the. I just remembered that actually. Yeah, we had the shoebox full of chocolate, and yeah, again, magical, absolutely magical. So
I
yeah,
want a
that's my
Christmas
one.
stocking now with chocolate in it, and I don't even eat chocolate.
There we go. I don't know what number that is. 5 or 6. Back to yourself, Squire.
5, that is, yeah.
Hmm.
Do you know what? My number 5 is Christmas. I want to say 1992, and so I would have been 16, and I don't know why this was a thing, but I was massively into Disney, and Disney released a whole bunch of their stuff on VHS again. I wish I kept this because Disney VHSs are worth a fortune.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I flung absolutely shitloads of Disney films out in
So I
DVDs.
had, and it was from my mum and from my gran and some from relatives. Like I said, I was just really into Disney. I think it's because I saw Aladdin in cinema, and it reminded me of how good Disney were at the top of their game.
Yeah, they were putting out big
So I got a
films.
load of the older stuff. So I think I had Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid, which everyone can judge me all they want, is my favorite Disney movie of all time. Seriously, no guff. Love the
Beauty and
Little
the
Mermaid.
Beast.
The Little Mermaid.
Little Mermaid. Oh, right,
Yeah.
yeah.
I had that. I had Robin Hood. I had I'm trying to think because there's one Jungle Book. Jungle Book's my second favorite Disney of all time. I had about 8 of these, and they weren't cheap as well. So that's why it was spread around all the family. Disney VHS was like $14.99, weren't they?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that Christmas Day night, right through into, and this is like then, this is before I was truly nocturnal. I sat there and watched a lot of them from Christmas Day evening after lunch, so it would have been like 6 o'clock at night, right through to about 6 o'clock in the morning. Watched every single one of them, and the only thing I had for sustenance was a bag of chocolate raisins that my gran gave me, wrapped up with a tenner taped to the side, and it was a huge one. And I don't know if you've ever eaten a whole bag of chocolate raisins, what it does to you.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It gives you fucking gas. So it's weird, but I still associate it with a bunch of these movies. So I watched all of these and I fucking loved it. It was fantastic. It was a really, really great Christmas. But all I can remember was like you could have bought a canary in a cage into that room and it was gone. Like it was a pea super. And I still remember every now and then when if I ever see it like on a video or something like that, a haul or pickup video, someone goes, I found this really old Disney video. I just think of that Christmas and just remember that was a good Christmas.
Wow.
Christ, I had the fun.
And you've not got them anymore, I take it, no?
No. I know. Oh, that was just fun. It was brilliant. It's weird because the thing is, we look upon Disney now, and Disney's not the company they used to be. They're so obsessed with PC correctness, pronouns and gender and all this crap. It's like, no, just make movies. That's all we care about. And so, like I said, because people would be like, what does a 16-year-old boy want with a bunch of Disney movies? But Disney movies of that period were fucking fantastic.
Yeah. I used to go to the cinema to see them. I saw them all in the cinema. I thought like Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, and like that was just that was like the first all-nighter I had watching movies, and it was all Disney stuff, and it was fantastic. On my VHS in my room, I have 2 VHS actually set up so I could tape to tape. Allegedly.
Again, that's another thing. Back then, you would get a VHS film for like a Christmas, and that was like, oh, brilliant! I've got
Yeah.
Terminator 2. Holy shit!
And it's
Find
weird because you look back on it now, my brain does this, and I think, stop it, Dave. You're being a snob. You of all people with your nostalgia, you still think it had the movie on it, and that was it. No special features, no scene selection, and I had to rewind it, and it wore out.
And there was something nice about getting
chunky is the word. Big.
What's
when
that?
you got a chunky, when you got a wrapped VHS clamshell. Because I always felt sorry for Americans because they always had theirs in cardboard sleeves, didn't they?
Yeah.
But we had those big fat clamshells, and you knew when you got a VHS because it was that big clamshell box, rock hard, even wrapped, and you could feel it, and then you could go like that. And their heads would move.
You're thinking, is it a Mega Drive game or is it a Mega Drive?
Oh, I hope it's Debbie Does Dallas.
But yeah, there was something that was an idea, and that's the thing. That's why I think we've reached a stage now in society where you fucking buy somebody an Amazon voucher because you're not going to buy them a CD, you're not going to buy them a DVD. Who watches DVDs? You know what I mean? Just looking at Del Boys saying there, Fantasia. Let me just bring it up actually.
Oh, he had that year as well, yeah.
There you go, Fantasia VHS box set is my only VHS set I have in that format. That box set was over £100. Wow. And a blue box. When I think of Fantasia, I always think of Screen Test. Remember Screen Test? With Rod Hull. I don't mean the emu Rod Hull, the other one.
Yeah.
Screen Test, yeah.
When I think of Fantasia, I think of The Sorcerer's Apprentice. I think everyone does. It was a commercial failure at the time, wasn't it?
Was it really?
Yeah.
That was the one with the mop that had to kind of walk up
and
down.
Because it's brutal, because it's obviously alive, it's obviously sentient, and he's hammering it with an axe. And then I think of the Mega Drive game. Have I got it? I'll tell you what.
Well, Fantasia. All right, I didn't know that. A Mega Drive game. Oh, really?
Right, now here's the thing. You know, Mickey's Castle of Illusion is fantastic.
So I'm going to take my hat off because I'm fucking burning up.
I'm sweating like a prostitute on a pimp's house. You know, Mickey's Castle of Illusion is utterly fantastic on the Mega Drive. Yeah, so based on that, as a kid, I bought Fantasia thinking it would also be fantastic. It is one of the worst fucking Mega Drive games you will ever play. But obviously, I had to buy it because I had it as a kid and I repieced together my collection.
Was that a
They made a sequel. Yeah. They made a sequel to it as well, didn't they? Fantasia 2000 and something. I'm pretty sure that one tanked as well.
Yeah, was Fantasia the one with the Mickey Mouse and the mops?
Yeah, it was basically a sort of collection of short stories. Well, not stories, I don't think there's any actual real dialogue or much dialogue in it, set to obviously classical music. Because there's that one about, is it not Mount Doom? That's Lord of the Rings, but there's like a evil mountain in it. I haven't watched it for years. Some evil Doom guy lived in it. I'm doing a really bad description of it, but
actually, just you talking about Disney films. A film that we bought for Ava, and we used to watch every Christmas, and I've not seen it for years. Was it Mickey's Christmas Carol or something? It's called.
Love Mickey's Christmas Carol.
Brilliant. That is. I've not seen that for a long, long time. I'll need to try and dig that out. Actually,
you can watch it on YouTube. It's broken into parts, but the decent people who put stuff up and know how to get around the algorithm do it so that each part leads directly into the next part. So there's no like sort of ads or anything.
Right. Okay.
Because I like it when Scrooge McDuck visits the Bob Cratchit's house, and obviously, because it's even more brutal than some of the lines in it than like actual live action Christmas carols, and what they're cooking because they're so poor is absolutely tiny. And then Scrooge McDuck goes, "Well, they're cooking a canary." Just think, this is a kids' movie.
Evening, Carlo. Merry Christmas from Borhead. That'll be Barhead in Glasgow. Good evening, Squire. Yeah, good stuff. So that's your number 5 or number 6. Right, I'm going to go in for one of my favourite toys, Evel Knievel. Did you have one, or were you too young?
I had one. I had one a few years later after the sort of fad as a hand-me-down, but that didn't detract from the fact that it was absolutely amazing. Although I did want the rocket car, but I had the bike on the windy thing.
Yeah, I had that as well. I remember the box. Again, the box was probably that size, but as a kid, it was like fucking that size. It was huge. And it had a big picture of Evel Knievel. Apparently, I watched a video about him recently. Apparently, he was actually a bit of a cunt. He's not.
He's not a nice man.
No,
he's not a nice man.
Yeah. But yeah, you know.
But then you'd probably be really pissed off if you broke every bone in your body and had permanent pain and crippling arthritis.
Did he not die recently?
That's probably about 10 years ago. I think he died shortly after that Richard Hammond meets Evel Knievel thing that was shown at Christmas.
Yeah.
And he came across as a right bastard in that as well.
Aye, but he was a bit of a twat.
What did he do? Someone, I can't remember, and it was falsely accused, but invited someone around to his house with his goons there, locked the door because he thought either they owed him money or he was having an affair with someone, and his goons beat the shit out of him with baseball bats.
They beat the shit out of Evel Knievel, yeah?
No, the person that Evel Knievel didn't like.
Oh, really? Aye.
Yeah. But also, to be fair, even though he was amazing and everything, like when you're a kid, who tries to jump cars on a Harley Davidson? But no, the toy, yeah. Oh,
no, the toy was awesome. Yeah, I mean the actual figure. It's. In fact, let me just bring it up.
It was one of those things like you get now in pound stores, wasn't it? It was rubber. It had a costume on, but it was rubber. It has wire in it.
Yeah, it was a bit shit. Oh, there we go. There's the. Oh, I'm just getting goosebumps looking at this. Where is it? There we go. £199.99. Jesus Christ. Yeah,
this is another one. Oh, I can remember the box.
Oh, look at that. I thought it was a photograph. But it's not, it's just a painting. Yeah. And the thing is, it could actually do all that. The only bit it couldn't do is the doll would end up like the arm would become detached, whatever, and you always.
I thought you were going to say the only thing it couldn't do was land, which I was going to say. To be fair, neither could he.
Well, it did land because I had a big kind of weight in the back. But yeah, there you go, King of the Stuntmen. In fact, was it last year we were talking about? Oh, what's that? Tin Can Alley, and I think we
Tin Can Alley. Yeah, that was in life before the NES. Yeah.
That's what it was. And you were saying it's just a little light that just hits something. Eh?
Yeah, because here you go. Hang on. Genuine Tin Can Alley can.
Oh, hang on. Oh, nice. Really?
So you would put the sticker on there.
Yeah, let me just remove that for a second.
Yeah. So you would put the sticker on there, and that's where you would aim the rifle barrel. But you had to put that high enough up the can because the bit where the light from the stock hit was down here on the plastic fence, if that makes sense. So if you fucked up where you put this, you weren't shooting anything.
So was that just a standard can then? Yeah.
Standalone, yeah, because if you remember, cans in the 80s had the two holes.
Ah, right. I'm sure my mate
because
was it not Dr. Pepper or something that came in there?
It depended. It depended on what year you bought. Yeah. I think that Pepsi should bring this can back, personally.
That's very iconic. Anyway, let's get back to more pressing matters like Evel Knievel. There we go. Yeah, look at that. That's for children.
I'm sure there'd be a market. I mean, it would be for adults, but I'm sure there would be a market for that if they bought that back.
No wonder I was excited. True cycle action will jump, wheelie, and race at top speed. Amazing action superbike for the King of the Stuntmen, complete with figure, stunt cycle, and energizer. There you go. There's the energizer. Yeah, that's the reality. It does look a bit shit. Oh, that's a bit yellow looking. Look at it.
I was just gonna say.
Obviously a smoker's house. Did they not? I'm sure it had the stickers on it as well.
He wants how much when it hasn't got the stickers and it's yellow? Look at Evel Knievel. The only bit of his uniform that's still white is his pant area. Look at it. It looks like he's wearing a nappy.
Where was it again? Hang on. Where's like? Why is he taking about 10 pictures of the box? Right.
That's probably what, because it's in decent nick, and that's probably what makes it worth the money. See what I mean? Look.
He looks a bit bow-legged, to be fair, as well, isn't he? Yeah.
He's probably been sat on that bike in an attic for 40 years.
Actually, what I like about this, it's actually kind of getting into nostalgia. You can pay it up £9.44 per month for 24 months.
It's nice of it.
Yes, just like a catalogue. There you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was epic. Yeah, Evil Knievel, Stunt Cycle, Gyro. I love how they come out with all these different phrases. Gyro powered. What do you mean gyro? Well, I suppose, is that a gyro? I don't know. It's like a weight that kind of builds up.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my number, whatever it is. Evil Knievel. Back to yourself, sir.
My number 6 is, well, I say it's recent. It's 2001, but I consider this a Christmas movie, and I'm not the only person who considers this a Christmas movie. And I must have seen it 3 times before Christmas that year, and loved it because I was an absolutely massive fan of Lord of the Rings, the books, and the Ralph Bakshi animated movie. And so I remember what a huge deal it was in 2001 when Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring came out. Like huge, like, because this was a film that was supposedly unfilmable, and it was coming out, like literally, was it the 21st of December? It was very close to Christmas. And it's one of those movies that it's got absolutely nothing to do with Christmas in it, but I've always associated with Christmas because I was so excited to see it in the year 2001 up to Christmas. Saw it 3 times in the cinema, managed each time to not have to go for a piss as well. And that was the regular edition, not the fucking special edition. And yeah, I always consider that a Christmas movie, and so ever since then I always watch The Lord of the Rings, albeit the extended edition, at Christmas. But yeah, that to me is a really like good Christmas memory. Love that Christmas 2000.
Was that the first Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, and obviously the second one, the Two Towers, and the third one, Return of the King, they all came out at Christmas as well. But because I never thought we would see a Lord of the Rings movie, and it was that good, and it came out at Christmas, that to me will always be a brilliant Christmas because of that movie. Didn't care what presents I got. Like, that was like a best gift of all if you're a bigger Lord of the Rings fan as me, Tolkien fan as me.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that to me now it's ever cemented as a Christmas movie. Adore those movies.
Yeah, I did enjoy them. I wasn't particularly taken with the Hobbit, I have to say.
They changed too much, the way they filmed too much, because it's quite practical, the original trilogy. It's quite practical. And then we won't even talk about Rings of Power. But neither do Amazon Prime anymore either, because they keep trying to make out it was a massive success, but no one watched it because it was a piece of woke garbage.
What I was going to say, I think actually probably Lord of the Rings, that was probably about the last film that I was really excited about seeing. There's no films at all getting made. There's probably been no films getting made in the last, well, apart from the Rocky films. Any Rocky film I get excited about. Star Wars, I've lost interest. But Lord of the Rings, that was to get the last kind of big blockbuster for me. There's just nothing comes out in the film.
What about the Harry Potters?
Nah.
See, I got a little secret to let you in on. I started listening to the Audible books at work. And then.
Is that the entire box set, is it?
Yeah. But I'm only watching them after I've listened to the books.
You know what? It was a weird thing because, I mean, I did watch the Harry Potter films, but Harry Potter kind of came out about the same time as the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And I always remember thinking, Harry Potter's just like a kid's version of Lord of the Rings. I'm not interested. And I did kind of watch it, but I don't know, never.
That's what I thought until I listened to the books.
Yeah. I know you've been watching my channel for a long time. You know my connection to Harry Potter.
You're a wizard?
No, I must have told you this. I've never told you this.
No, I'm pretty sure you haven't.
Back in 1995, I used to share. I was an office manager, and this young chap called Neil came to work. He was a trainee QS. He was a quantity surveyor, trainee QS. Lived in Edinburgh. He moved into my office for about 6 months. We used to play squash together, etc. I was about probably 10 years older than him, and then he went away and did what he did.
To Hogwarts, sorry.
Yeah, and then about 4 years ago, I was on a night out with the company that I used to work for, and we were talking about, has anybody seen Dave? Oh yeah, Dave's in it. And somebody says, what about Neil? I went, what about Neil? You don't know who he's married? What are you talking about? J.K. Rowling. I'm like, fuck
Holy
off.
shit!
He's married to J.K. Rowling. Neil used to play squash with the guy.
No way.
He's fucking married to J.K. Rowling. He gave up being a QS. He became a doctor. He still practices, apparently. At one point, he will get
I'd sit on my ass and spend my wife's money.
Aye, exactly. So he's yeah. There you go. I've tweeted her a couple of times saying, "Can you tell Neil I'm asking for him?" she's never ever fucking got back to me. Oh, bastard. But yeah, there we go. So that was your number, whatever it was, number six. Number 7. Okay, I'm just having a quick look. I should always look at the comments just in case anyone's asking any questions.
Neil might be in there.
Yeah. You never know. Yeah, hit me up. Right, we've kind of touched on this one already, but I've just got snowing. You know, when I know we kind of the whole weather thing is arse for elbow now. It's usually mild up to about December, and then January, February, March, it's fucking Arctic conditions. But back in the good old 70s and 80s, we used to get snow for Christmas, and there was always something just extra special. Unless, of course, you got a police tricycle.
It didn't work in the snow.
It didn't work in the... Could you not get can you not buy chains or that for it and like that at all?
Yeah,
No?
do you know what? I should have asked my parents to step up, and instead of getting the truck, I should have got the 4x4.
But yeah, there was just something. Again, you touched on that earlier on. It was the whole build up to Christmas, the snow, the school, the games. It was everything all put together, just led to this kind of. And that again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier on. Yeah, I know I'm sounding like my dad, but kids now they get everything. They really, really do. Back then, we never got, you'd go to your granny's, and when you were leaving, she would come up and she would go, there, don't tell your mum and dad, and she would push like 50 pence into your, and I was always taught to refuse. No, take it. No. Right, okay, I'll not bother then. Oh, for fuck's sake. So, but yeah, you were given money, but you had Christmas was the one time of the year, apart from birthdays, obviously, where you got stuff. So yeah, it's snowing. Wonderful.
Snowing was like nature's Christmas present. See what I did there?
It was, yeah. I wonder. It'd be interesting to know how many white Christmases I've actually lived through. Probably not many when you think about it.
I lived through 4 in Canada, but that's because it was Canada, so they don't really count because it's guaranteed to snow there. It's no fun when it's guaranteed to snow.
No. When was the last white Christmas in Evening Retro and Lim? How are you, buddy? Yeah, when was the last Christmas?
I think you're going to have to Google that.
I mean, I know
it's white Christmas in UK. Well, it wouldn't be the UK, would it? It'll be parts of it.
Yeah, I know. I think if snow falls even on like the mountains of the Cairngorms, it's classed as a white Christmas, which doesn't really cut it for me, I don't think.
I can definitely remember, because it was the year I got my driving license, so it definitely was a white Christmas, at least in Bristol, in 1993. Because I think I told you last year, it snowed on the roof of my Mini when we drove to the pub, and my mate Lawrence from, I would have been in college at that point, said, "Hey, I didn't know your Mini had a white roof." I mean, it doesn't, Lawrence, it's snow. But other than that, can't honestly remember.
Yeah, but it didn't matter. I don't think it really bothered. It didn't bother you too much as a kid if it wasn't a white Christmas. But as long as you had snow in like the lead up to it, I think that was an important thing. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Anyway, that's my number 8, 9, whatever. Don't know. Doesn't matter. Back to yourself.
My number 7 is Transformers, the computer game on the ZX Spectrum, because I was a huge Transformers fan. After we worked our way through the Star Wars, sort of being our Prezi of choice at Christmas. So if you're lucky, you might get a ship. You get a couple of figures a year and stuff like that. Transformers was the next big boys' toy in this country, and I absolutely fucking adored Transformers. I did a video a month or so, maybe a couple of months ago, where I went through on camera all my remaining childhood Transformers I still have, and most of them still had boxes in some form. But yeah, I was a huge Transformer fan. And when I found out that Ocean, because even like then, which would have been 1985 when the game came out, Ocean was still above, they were far from the amazing, like the best software house on the micros at this point, but they were still a cut above most other software houses. So it was an absolutely massive deal when Transformers came out on ZX Spectrum Commodore 64. But I got it. I still have the copy of the tape as well. I got it for Christmas, and as a kid, even though it wasn't the greatest a game, the fact that you could transform in it between, your robot on your car mode and then drive around as your car, even though it was a platform game, and it made it bloody impossible. And you had like 5 Autobots you could play as and 5 Decepticons. Just the fact that Ocean did a game where you could transform was like, this was fucking... And I loved that Christmas. Just spent all day Christmas Day glued to the ZX Spectrum until my mum would come along and say, your brother Ian got a game now, piss off for an hour and a half, it's his turn. Oh, but Mum, I want to save Cybertron.
Well, I mean, I've tried to play it on the C64, and
it's crap on the C64.
So I was going to say,
it's the same game, but
really?
It just plays. Yeah. Well, it has a semblance more playability on the Spectrum. It's fucking hard, mind, but
didn't have a good SID shooting right enough. That was the only thing going for the C64 one, but I quite simply couldn't understand how to play the damn thing. So
you had to walk around and find an Energon cube, and then take the Energon cube to a grid in the middle, and the part once you put it there, a part of, dependent upon whether you're Autobots or Decepticons, a part of their insignia would appear. But the problem was, and it was even worse than the Commodore version, was shit just constantly came at you and pelted you all the time. In fact, no, you were just the Autobots. Just remember that. But yeah, so yeah, you were just being pelted all the time. If you drove off an edge but didn't turn sideways, so you skid and float, you would just crash and die. If you transformed and then you could fly, if you hit anything, you just crashed and died.
So what was the difference between Zoids and Transformers? Or Zoids not the same sort of thing?
Zoids were like put together dinosaurs, but they didn't transform. They were essentially model kits.
Right.
They were cool though. Like the big ones were hugely cool and hugely expensive and hugely fragile.
Yeah, but
yeah, Transformers the game. That was a good Christmas day.
When did you last play it?
I did a comparison video of it against the Commodore 64 about 3 years ago.
Oh.
I think I might have to revisit it now.
So
and then after playing it for 2 minutes, go, why the fuck did I put it on this list? Stupid me back then in 1985. What a retard I was. Excellent.
It's nice to see somebody that doesn't think it's shit. So it's quite a playable game then.
You've got to play the Spectrum one now.
Yeah.
No, let me rephrase it. As an adult, it's more playable than the Commodore 64. I don't know if I go as far as to say quite a playable game. More playable. I'm setting you up for disappointment.
Well, Scott's saying there was actually 2 versions on the C64. One was more a strategy game.
Yeah, it was like a tower defense game to some degree, wasn't it? And it was based on the movie characters, and I was pissed off it never came out on the Spectrum until I played it on emulation many years later and realised it was even shitter than the first.
Interesting. And there's Matt Renton is saying the definition that the Met Office uses to define a white Christmas is for one snowflake to be observed falling in the 24 hours of the 25th of December somewhere in the UK.
I thought it had to land on the Met Office. On the Met Office. Honestly, I thought it had to land on the Met Office's roof, but I don't know. I'm pretty sure if you walk into Ladbrokes, they'll just change the goalposts.
So if a guy coming home for the pub happens to spot a snowflake in Sutton Coalfield and he phoned the Met Office, he said, I saw a snowflake. White Christmas, folks.
They say, sober up, you liar.
Yeah, yeah, excellent. Right, my next one. Again, an obvious one, but putting up the Christmas decorations. I mean, now I had to, my daughter had to nag me to put up my decorations. I only put them up, what day did I put them up? About 3-4 days ago. But back then, decorations were different. Do you remember they were like accordions? It was like,
Oh yes,
and they
and
just hung down.
But the thing is, they never make it to the end of Christmas because someone would always push them in the middle and fuck up the accordion bit, wouldn't they? And you had super fragile baubles.
Hanging. Yeah, I think they're like made of glass, were they not?
Yeah, you literally would look at them when they'd break. And everything on your tree was flammable.
And then you used to, usually in the last week of school, you would have the what was it? It was like it was like, what the hell was it called again? It was like paper, and
you make the paper chain with the links.
You made the paper chains, and you took them home. But yeah, again, it was that combined with the smelly apples and that putting up the decorations. That was kickstarting.
The smell of the attic, because back then, obviously, you didn't have double glazing and stuff like this, and your houses weren't as well insulated as they are now. But I just remember that very specific smell of damp on the Christmas tree every year. That took 3 days of it being in a warm room before it dissipated.
The fustiness. It's the same fustiness smell you get when you buy like I've got tons of books, like original Atari instructions and what have you, and you just go.
Yeah,
it's
like a time machine.
It's nostalgia, isn't it? So yeah, nothing more to be said. Putting up the Christmas decorations, that was always you knew Christmas was just around the corner. Yeah,
mine's surprisingly near to that, but not decorations as such. I remember, and it was kind of a big deal because I don't know when it kicked in everywhere, but do you remember when you first got that fake snow that you could spray like on windows? And you could spray at the bottom and stuff like that. So look, it looks like we got snow, and you could spray it on the tree and stuff like that. I just remember one year when my mum got some of those, and she got all these templates, and we just did every single fucking window in the house, upstairs and downstairs. Just went mental with it. And she was like, because we were very young, and we had such a blast. It was brilliant. It was half a day of just sheer crazy fun. But she must have been well pissed off because we went so overboard. I'm pretty sure no daylight could get in the fucking windows. But I just remember that was fun, holding up the templates and going, shh. I'm pretty sure this stuff was toxic as shit as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember that when we did that. We did every window in the house. Even for some reason, my dad, because we loved it so much, let us do his car windows. But yeah, fake snow in a can. Fake snow in a can. See, again, it comes back to it being a different time when we were younger. Yeah. Because obviously people now be like, well, fake snow is a big deal. Yeah, because at some point it never existed. And then it did. And in the early 80s, when something like that came along, it was like a huge deal at Christmas. It's like, wait, I can put fake snow on my tree and on my windows. This is a game changer. Fake snow was fantastic. Although, obviously, being 3 boys, a large chunk of it got sprayed on each other, which my mum wasn't a massive fan of. Well, and as I said, I'm pretty sure it had asbestos in it.
There's Scott saying there, yeah, that shit was fun at the time, but ridiculously hard to remove, especially on walls, or more specifically, probably wallpaper. I can imagine.
After Christmas, we just changed the colour of the walls from yellow to white, just painted over the shit and left it there.
I remember my sister used to make, I can't remember what the hell she used. It was like she used to mix, I don't know what it was. She used to mix some sort of like white powder with, I don't know if it was water, and you could make like little snow scenes and it would like go brick hard. I can't remember what the hell it was. It was probably toxic, whatever it was. But she used to make little, I think it was something you used to do at school. You made these little, it looked like kind of snow, but I don't know what it was.
Make your own dioramas.
Sort of, yeah. But you mixed some white powder with something. I don't know what the hell it was. Like I said, it was probably toxic. Good evening, Holly. There we go. Speaking of Christmas, Holly. I'm assuming Holly was born on the 25th of December. Making what were we talking about there? Was that an official? Was that one of your official?
That was my official. It was actually that's ironically after your decorations one.
Yeah, white fake snow. Do you get fake snow now?
You do. I've got some from America that someone sent me, and I've saved it. But you literally put it in a bowl and you add like 1 drop of water and it just goes.
I was asked a question a couple of weeks ago in the waffle: fake or real Christmas tree? What's it to be?
I watched that your waffle, and I agree with you. Fake all the way, because you could think of the tree. I mean, I know they just get grown for Christmas, but at the same time, we're all obsessed with global warming and climate change and shit like that. Does that mean every Christmas when everyone throws their Christmas tree out at the end of Christmas, and they all die and shit like that, that fucking the environment gets that much closer to death because fucking billion trees have just been killed? But however, I do have a friend who buys one every year in a pot, and then when he's done with Christmas, he takes it out and he plants it.
Oh, that's nice. So
Yeah.
actually, doesn't
No,
kill it
actually,
then.
he's done this for 20 years. No actual daylight can make it into his house anymore. But but yeah, no, he plants them in the garden and just lets them carry on growing as a tree. So that's cool if you do it like that. But yeah, I agree. Don't fake tree all the time.
Yeah.
Because
Remember,
also, even if you don't care about the tree's life and shit like that, pine needles everywhere till fucking Easter. Otherwise,
not ideal where when you're running downstairs in the middle of the night, you get a drink of water and you stand in one.
Yeah. And also, we had a male dog when we were kids, and he used to piss on it.
I'm just getting images of National Lampoon's Christmas
the
Vacation.
cat.
Which I'm just conscious of the time. Okay, now it's 11:20. So much for we'll rigidly stick to an hour. We're now coming up for.
That's because we stayed off topic at the start and talked video games.
Not to worry, we're almost getting there. We're soon to be finished, folks. Right, my number, whatever it is. Again, it's so fucking obvious, but that getting shooed off to your bed, but going off to bed, and that was the one time of the year where I was glad as a kid to go to bed, and I wanted
to sleep earlier. Next day comes quicker.
Yeah, I wanted to get to sleep because then as soon as you go to sleep, you're instantly awake and it's time for Christmas. But you
couldn't sleep because you were so excited.
Exactly, going downstairs and just seeing, you go downstairs and nothing there, just a tree, and then you tiptoed back downstairs again and you just see this big pile of presents. Oh, wow, it was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal.
I saw Santa last night, Dad. You never believe this. He's a dead ringer for you.
I'm sure my mum and dad, well, in fact, they did tell me that there was times where, in fact, I don't think we've got any children watching tonight. Santa Claus is real, by the way, folks. But they would quite literally get the last present wrapped, put under the tree. They just about got into bed, put the light off. Mom, Dad, Santa's been. For fuck's sake. Yeah, I was usually 3 o'clock in the morning. None of this, go back to sleep. But yeah, that's an obvious one. But yeah, just again, that initial seeing the pile of presents. You're like, wow. The funny thing is, I was talking to my sister fairly recently, and we actually got very little for Christmas. We really did. We got very little, but as a kid, it didn't. It was. I didn't think I missed out at all. You know what I mean? It was
quality, not quantity.
It was absolutely. And again, because you never really got during the year, you looked forward to.
Also, if you get showered with an absolute shitload of stuff, and then you never pay any attention to anything because you don't know where to go, how much are you going to actually appreciate about it?
Yeah. Nah, absolutely. I know Eva was like that when.
That's what I told myself when I was a kid and I saw my neighbour's pile.
Yeah, like I said, my mate Derek, he always got every single thing. So he would come to my house. I got the $6 million man, and I don't know, whatever. I got Evel Knievel. Oh, that's great. We'll go to his house. Oh, there's Evel Knievel. There's a $6 million man. There's Long Ranger and Tonto. There's again TCR. There's not Chase HQ. Christ Almighty. Yeah, he just got everything. I was always insanely jealous, but I got the grifter and he got the rally.
And he was insanely jealous that year.
Oh, it's back to me, I think. Yeah, it isn't. No, it's not. That was my Christmas present one. Yeah.
I've got getting up early and watching. This is when I had a TV in my room. it would have been a black and white one, but getting up early and watching Christmas Kids TV, because you knew that if you actually got up and made any noise at that point or wanted to open your presents and you woke everyone else up, you'd be in a world of shit. So you waited until you could hear your parents moving around and shit like that. So you knew it was good to go, and you watched, and there would be stuff like Whack-A-Day, and they'd have Christmas stuff on, there'd be Christmas cartoons like that. And on my black and white TV, I had to dial it. It was like cracking a safe every time you wanted to change the channel. Yeah, and I just have fond memories of watching Christmas Kids TV, and then it would have been like on BBC One, BBC Two, BBC Three, no Channel 4. Actually, probably later in that. Actually, I don't think I would have had one then. It would have been probably sort of very late 80s. But yeah, couldn't make too much noise. Mid 80s, because late 80s I would have had a color TV because I saved up and bought my own for my import Mega Drive. And it's weird because you wanted to just go up and get the presents, but you still loved it because it was like, you know, it was just all part of Christmas and really, really exciting.
That's another, just you've kind of touched on something. Even watching things like multicoloured swap shop and Christmas Tiz that was brilliant, you know.
Oh, multicoloured swap shop was just legendary. Before Noel Edmonds went a bit mental. But yeah, Christmas Kids cartoons and stuff like that, and just before you could start opening presents, it became the precursor to presents. Because
sadly, I'm too old for that. I mean, back in the 70s, you know, TV didn't start until about midday. All you got was the bloody test card, so I didn't get to enjoy that kind of
Pebble Mill at one.
That thing, yeah. And you got the national anthem before you turn the TV. The guy would then tell you, make sure you switched and unplugged the TV.
And the test card of that girl with the doll that was the stuff of nightmares.
The balloon.
Yeah.
I wonder if she's still alive, eh?
No, the clown killed her.
Aye, super. Right, there we go. Dell saying 01 811 8055. There you go. Mental. That was a swap shop, was it? I think.
Oh man, that's weird. As soon as you said that number.
811 8055. Brilliant. Right, my next one. I've got 4 to go. One of the big things I used to enjoy about Christmas, and I knew Christmas was here, was we had a store called Woolco, which was it was like the big mega store version of Woolworths, and it's where I got my first part-time job. And it quite literally sold everything. It did. It sold mopeds. It had sports department, furniture, clothes, women's jewellery, men's clothes, women's clothes, kids' clothes, computers, TVs, hi-fi. It sold everything, absolutely everything. And without fail, I quite literally, I mean, you see posts on Facebook, oh, it's now time for guys to go and get presents. But I used to go up on Christmas Eve and just buy all my presents. And there was something really special about doing it all on Christmas Eve. As you say, Christmas Eve is actually, I think, is actually better. I think Christmas Day is overrated. I think Christmas Eve actually trumps it. It does. It's anticipation, definitely.
I'll let you know after I get my air fryer.
Well,
I've been filling up the freezer for weeks.
But yeah, there was just something really, really nice about going up. But yeah, it was Christmas Eve, buying the presents, had my big list, and yeah, just absolutely wonderful. Colin Jones is saying we still have Wilco. No, it's Woolco, Woolco. Yeah, did you have a Woolco near you at all?
I don't think so. Is it a Scottish brand?
No, well, it's Woolworths. Don't know if it's got. Let's see if I've got a picture of it. Woolco. No, I mean, it was just, it was an American-based discount retail store founded in 1962 in Columbus, Ohio by the F.W. Woolworth Company. But yeah, it was, like I says, it was just the mega store version, but it was great. It just, you could go in there and you could just, I mean, that's where it was quite interesting. They used to have a computer game department. They always had the ColecoVision running Donkey Kong. They never had the Atari 2600 running, but they had the computer console bit, and then the record section, and for some weird reason, the Vectrex was in the record department. I don't think anyone knew what the Vectrex was. I remember seeing it and thinking, "What the hell is that?" And I didn't really know quite what to make of it. It just looked, these white lines. It just looked shit.
Maybe that's why they put it there. Maybe they thought it was like a disco attachment for radios.
And that's why it failed. I mean, you were talking about the C5. If you buy any game on eBay for the Vectrex, guaranteed it'll have a Woolworth sticker on it, and it'll have £1.50, because they were giving them away. Nobody wanted them.
It's the 32X of its time.
Aye. And now you'll pay 60, 70 quid for the same game. Madness. Anyway, yeah, going to Woolco and buying my Christmas presents on Christmas Eve is my number 9 or number 8, whatever. You'll probably tell me what
10.
Number is. Number 10.
My number 10 is flying to Toronto from Montreal for Christmas in 2004. 2003 was when that guy to come and spend Christmas with us. No, it would have been 2005 when I flew. 2004, I got the Greyhound from Montreal to my mates in Toronto who were English. And 8 hours in a bus is just fucking torture. So I promised myself that the next year, even though it was really expensive, I was going to fly. So 8 hours in a bus or hour on a plane, even though it was going to be like $350 return. They always advertised it on the side of Dorval Airport. It's like $99 one way. You know, and then you add the tax, because they never do anything with tax in North America. But the reason I put that is, you'd be surprised, right, on the 23rd of December, how festive an airport is. Like, because everyone's going somewhere or going to be with family, everyone's in a good mood. You always see this in movies and stuff, everyone flying away for Christmas. And because if you ever go in summer anywhere, airports are a fucking pain in the ass. And everyone's a rude, horrible bastard. But honestly, I just remember this was one of the most pleasant experiences I ever had in an airport ever. Everyone was like, you know, oh, excuse me. Oh, sorry. Oh, Merry Christmas. Only at that side of the flight, they were doing it in French. It was the other side of the flight that they didn't. But it was just like a really, really nice thing. And then landing, and you still fly when it snows, but landed in Toronto when, and they had snow as well. And it was only an hour on a plane, not 8 hours in a bus. And it was the 23rd of December, and it was late at night. It just felt really, really, really Christmassy. And I just remember thinking, who thought airports could be really festive? I know that sounds really weird. And they have obviously the decoration stuff like that. And every time when you went up to the desk and you gave your ticket, the flight person would take your ticket, rip it and stuff like that. And they'd still be like, I know you have a Merry Christmas, sir, and a lovely flight. And I just remember thinking, Christ, the movies were right. Airports at Christmas are amazing. I don't know if they still are, because we've had various terrorist things since then. You know, you can't take anything liquid on a plane or stuff like that. I mean, this is obviously post 9/11, but yeah, I just remember thinking maybe it's as well because the previous year going to my mate's house at Christmas, and again, it was a flight to go somewhere for Christmas. But yeah, 8 hours on a bus, literally 2 hours on a fucking bike is an improvement over that. So yeah, but I just remember thinking, what a fantastic experience flying is at Christmas.
Yeah,
going somewhere for Christmas by plane, and the airport was all festive, fantastic, and everyone was in a good mood.
And that was in like England, the airport.
No, that was
yeah.
Probably wouldn't be the same here.
Yeah.
In this country, there'll just be no fucking Christmas.
I was going to say, yeah, I don't know. I don't think I've ever known the UK to be people to say Merry Christmas. People would almost be embarrassed to say that. I said it. I do. Shopping.
I do to everyone when I buy something.
Yeah, but most places, most people in the UK are fucking miserable bastards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So maybe it's different in the States. Maybe it is like what you see in the films. I don't know. But aye, wonderful, great stuff. Right, what one am I going to do? Oh, I've already done that one. Right, I've got 2 to go. Right, one probably my second favourite Christmas present, and I'm going to go and get it because I did re-buy it. Hang on 2 secs. Now, this is not the original, and this is somewhat battered looking, but you get the drift. Astro Wars.
Oh, Astro Wars.
How beautiful is that? Let's have a look. Not got any batteries in it. Yeah, still. The dog's bollocks.
Not having any batteries in it would have ruined your Christmas as well.
Yeah, it was big. Some of the big 4C batteries. You remember the D batteries were like, they probably weighed about 1 kilogram each. You went like that and they would just fall out because of the weight of the thing. Jesus,
I didn't realise until the other day that C batteries are still a thing.
Yeah, apparently they are.
I pre-ordered the Nerf Aliens pulse rifle for the 35th anniversary of Aliens. Took a year, got it. Turned out then they just started selling it in stores anyway, which pissed me off because I pre-ordered it. But yeah, and it showed up. And I reviewed it in a video, but I'm like, fucking batteries are these? 4C batteries and a Nerf gun. Holy cow. But yeah, batteries would bite you in it. We talked about this last year. Batteries could quite often bite you in the ass at Christmas.
Aye. The thing, they didn't last. I mean, I think batteries have improved a lot as well, haven't they? Not like the old. And the thing is, my mum and dad never ever bought bloody batteries. That was always like a kick in the balls. You got something for Christmas, and there was no fucking batteries to put in it. So you'd have to open up your dad's transistor radio and put it into that, and then my mum, you make sure you put them back into the radio again. But
but they're flat.
Astro Wars ultra modern arcade excitement is now yours as you defend your Earth ships against a fierce invasion. You must dodge the enemy missiles and fire back at the squadrons of attacking fighters, warships, and enemy command ships. If you survive, you can attempt the exciting docking maneuver and earn extra points. But yeah, just, I mean, what's not to like about that?
It's one of the daddies. It's one of the better ones of all the ones back then by a long mile.
Yeah, it was actually good. I mean, it was unique because most of these games, quite literally after 5 minutes, you were bored rigid. But it had
basically a proper version of Gallagher.
It was, and it does play pretty well. Yeah, you can beat it fairly easily, but you can still hear the tune. I don't have to put it on. You can still hear the. Yeah, awesome. Loved that to bits. So that was my number 11. Back to yourself.
Mine would be the year that I got the Rebel transport from Star Wars, from Empire Strikes Back. You see it a little bit in Jedi. And I don't know why I was obsessed with this ship, because you see it in one scene in Empire Strikes Back. That's just one scene at the start when they're evacuating Hoth, and it's the really long beveled one like that. And then you see a couple of them in the end of scene in Return of the Jedi. But for some reason, I was completely and utterly obsessed with this when we saw it in like a supermarket, and I had to have it. It's probably because the box art on these things just sold you all the time. And it was great because you take the front off and 2 people could go in the front, pull the back off, and there were 2 laser cannons and you could stick people in there. And then you twist this black handle, pull the top off, and you could put your entire Star Wars figure collection in all these square pegs. Had a trap door in the middle, and it came with a bunch of gas masks that you could put around people and backpacks. And I don't know why I was so obsessed with this ship. But I remember that Christmas, my mum kept saying, we couldn't find it, we couldn't find it, we couldn't find it. And they were playing me completely. And I just remember, so that would have been around about 1984. And I just remember waking up Christmas morning at the Rebel transport. It's like, holy shit. And the first thing I did, because I'm a dumbass, is not play with it, was take the top off and then go and get all my old figures and stick a figure in every single wall like that. And then just put the top back on and walk around with it like that. Look, got all my Star Wars figures in here.
Have you still got it?
Yeah, boxed.
Have you?
And the funny thing is, it wasn't until years later that my dad said to me, like, congratulations. You basically just got a glorified bag for your Star Wars figures. Yeah, but this one's got guns at the back. Yeah, but you just kept walking around the house with all your figures in it, being chuffed as bits that you could move your entire collection around the house. To be fair, Dad, I was 8.
Did you ever get like the AT-AT or the Millennium Falcon?
My brother Jason got the Millennium Falcon, and my brother Ian got the AT-AT.
Yeah.
And he sold it recently.
Oh, really?
I was like, shame on you. A little bit of your soul is gone with that.
Has just died. Yeah.
Yeah.
Superb. Listen, I'm going to have to wrap it up shortly. I need to go and do something. I've got one more. We've got one each anyway, haven't we?
Yeah.
I think my last one is there was a large store in Edinburgh called Goldberg's. I don't know if it was a Scottish thing, and every year they used to have this amazing Christmas display, to the point that it was tradition. You used to get taken through to Goldberg's just to look at the Christmas decorations. Nowadays, I mean, my next door neighbours, it's like the Griswolds have got all these fucking lights, and you know, the guy was up for like hours and hours on the ladder nailing the lights and everything. But you know, they go over the I don't know. Do they go over the top now? But back then, you know, Christmas decorations were the little paper chains and little accordion foil things that kind of hung from the ceiling. But yeah, going to Goldberg's to look at the Christmas decorations. That was you knew Christmas was just around the corner. So that is my number 12 favourite Christmas memories. And the last one, Squire.
My number 12 ties into my number 1, but it's a different movie, but it happened on the same day, and we talked about it at the start of this video, which was I'd only ever seen Empire Strikes Back once when I was a kid, and I think it wasn't in the cinema, because I would have been 4. I think our dad must have had it on Pirate Video. And I just remember it being absolutely amazing, and having all the toys and stuff like that. I just needed to see Empire Strikes Back, and we could never rent it. It was never available wherever we went to rent stuff for some reason. I don't know why. So the day that it was 1987, so the Christmas Day when the BBC pulled out Back to the Future, ITV combated it with the same time slot with Empire Strikes Back. I think you know where this is going, because love both movies. Back to the Future preferred to Empire Strikes Back, but had to see Empire Strikes Back, and it was like it just became this huge problem at Christmas. And I still remember this, and I remember it fondly because we got a a Betamax copy of both of them. That would be why we couldn't rent it, actually, because we didn't have it. Again, Back to the Future didn't have VHS at that point. We had a Betamax copy of Back to the Future and Empire. So like, and Empire's my favorite Star Wars movie, so 2 of my favorite movies. But in order to get it, because we only had one Betamax, on Christmas, we're terrible, horrible people for this. On Christmas Day, we made my mom drive like 10 miles down the road to my Auntie Sheila's house, who also had a Betamax with a tape. So Auntie Sheila could record Empire Strikes Back for us. And then we picked it up the next day so we could have a copy of Back to the Future and Empire Strikes Back, because they were on in the same time slot on the same day. It was worth it.
Yeah, and that was the conundrum back then. You had to decide.
Yeah.
Do I watch Jaws or do I watch?
Yeah. We could have watched one and take the
Inferno.
other, but the thing is, we wanted them both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So God rest her soul, Auntie Sheila. I don't know what we stopped you from watching, but we got a copy of Empire Strikes Back.
So did Star Wars come out in Betamax then?
They did to rent.
But never to buy.
Because everyone you went, never to buy in every store you went to, because it was losing the battle. The Betamax sections just got smaller and smaller and smaller, so they wouldn't necessarily have as many old titles. So it was so hard to rent it. So saw it once, and I had to see it again because I had the comic books and stuff like that. And so like it was, 987, 11. Even as a kid, looking at the schedules like that and just going, because this is what I meant about them pulling out the big guns and trying to fight each other. Well, it's not you bastards. It was like Back to the Future's on BBC One, like at 3:30 on Christmas Day. No one's going to touch this. Empire Strikes Back, 3:30 Christmas Day, ITV. Well played, sir. Well played.
Did they put the films on at the same time? I can't remember.
Yeah. Oh, they were bastards then.
Oh, bloody hell.
Because it's all about the viewership, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And obviously for ITV, it would have been because they would want the money from the ads.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See, now I can't complain about this, but if I'd have taken Empire, then I would have done the thing where I paused it every time the commercial came out. But Auntie Sheila didn't.
Auntie Sheila fucked up, so she's yeah. But God bless Auntie Sheila for doing that.
But
anyway, that's our 12 Days of Christmas. I just want to finish with one last thing. I mean, it goes without saying, most of the time, Christmas, wonderful presents, memorable presents, stuff that you wanted. Did you ever get a disappointing Christmas present? Something you thought, I really, really want this, and then you open it up, and then your heart drops. Oh, it's not what I want. Why did you buy that? Did that ever happen?
Yeah. Do you remember wrist racers?
Oh, and something's niggling me. A little car on your wrist.
Yeah, they were the stupidest thing ever, but I thought they were so. Until later, to another degree, later on, they did something called finger racers, which were even shitter. But wrist racers, I was just like, I had to have it. I had to have it. And they did this cool thing where it's like, they did the Fall Guy truck, they did the Dukes of Hazzard generally, and there was Knight Rider, and then there was the police car from Dukes of Hazzard. And yeah, it was a wrist watch. Well, I say watch, just like a wrist strap with this big clear plastic dome where you went like that. But you had a little car in there, and it was wind up.
I remember that. Yeah.
You wind it up, you wind it up, and you wind it up, and then you go like this. And the advert made it. They were like flying around, smashing into each other, like just like the fucking TV shows. Oh my god, this is amazing! So I got it for Christmas, and they were quite hard to get that year, and they weren't really expensive, but they weren't like budget stuff either. So I was like, I had the Jeep, the 4x4 from the Fall Guy. Yeah, like. And it wasn't because it was broke. And yeah, and even as a kid, like, that must have been like 7 or something, or 8. And it's like, I feel distinctly lied to by the advert. No, we'll do that again. You're like, this is shit.
Yeah. Gutted.
Yeah, and I hated it. But that's the power of marketing, isn't it?
Yeah, aye, a bit like Evel Knievel. I remember the advert and jumping over like a big kind of sandpit and all this kind of shit. But
yeah. And then it said at the bottom in little black and white text, sandpit not included.
Do you remember one of the most popular kind of toys that we got as kids were just like cars? That I remember there was a series of like plastic cars, and they didn't go really fast. But what you would push it. But I don't know, it must have a gyroscope, whatever, and it would just go,
and then it speed up.
No, this thing went really slow, but you could put your hand down and go, and it would go over it, and and it would like climb almost like, it wouldn't climb a wall, but it would
Rough
climb.
Riders?
I can't remember. They were really small. They were only about that size, but it would go on forever. You would push it, and it would just keep going. I want to say
Rough Riders or Stompers?
Oh, I can't remember. I just remember.
I just remember because you were revving. It had a switch underneath, and so you rev it. It'd go along really slowly. Then
this thing went mega slow. Yeah.
Well, this one, the switch would catch on the floor, then it would speed up, and then hit a wall, and all the panels would come off.
Oh, I do remember that. No, this thing just went really.
And then, literally 2 hours after Christmas lunch, you were already missing 4 panels.
But no, this thing just went mega slow. But yeah, I can't remember what they were called. But my disappointing Christmas, again, I've mentioned this before, was my mate had Subutio, the football game, and I wanted it for Christmas. I said to Mum, Dad, I really, really like Subutio. Right, okay. So
and they got you a real football.
I went, no. I went down and I'm like, oh, this is a big present, Subutio. And I opened it up and it was like, Subutio, rugby.
Yeah.
And it was shit. Fucking Subutio.
Is it made by the same people who made Subutio?
It was. I can't remember who made it.
Because if you kept that, you could retire now.
Really?
Yeah, thing's worth a fortune.
What, the rugby one?
Yeah.
Joking, it was absolutely garbage. The only bit I actually played, I don't think we ever actually could figure out how to play it.
That's just like real rugby, isn't it?
The only thing I did play, the only bit that I actually played was you got a little rugby ball, and it was like the scrum. And do you remember Haunted House?
Yes, where you drop the thing in the middle,
the marble, and it would go down it would go down one of 4 kind of paths. That was the scrum.
I forgot all about that.
Yeah, Haunted House. What was it? Great. There was the evil witch, and then there was the nice witch, Gretel.
And there were 4 kids, weren't there? Different colours in a half pose of moving.
Yeah, they're like standing on one leg. That's right. Really simple, really simplistic. The marble would fall down and knock you over. But anyway, yeah, getting back to my Subbuteo, the only bit that was even remotely entertaining was this rugby ball, and you dropped I had a wee mini rugby ball, and it would go down like either that side or that side. But yeah, I was gutted. Another one was I wanted Skeletrix. You know, everybody wanted Skeletrix. What did I get? A train set.
Yeah, but at least you jumped it.
And I just used to race the trains, but absolutely gutted with that. But anyway, listen, on that bombshell, folks, it is 11 minutes to Christmas Day. I want to thank everybody for taking time. We've got 21 people watching it just now. Thank you very, very much.
As do I.
Yeah, you should have been away watching a film. Are you still going to watch a film just now?
I'm going to watch National Lampoons, but I'm going to watch Snowman first because Snowman's what, 20 minutes?
Yeah, I'm going to go and do that right now as well. So listen, folks, I want to say a massive thanks to yourself, Dave. It's always a privilege and a pleasure to have you on the channel. I know
Thank you for having me.
We should tie up more regular, but you know what? It's great. These are tradition, and we will be back next year for the next one. So I wish
we'll try and cram one, not Christmas one, obviously. We'll try and cram one in before then.
yeah. We'll get together, and you need to get your arse up here as well. But we'll take that offline. So anyway, folks, listen. Thank you very much for joining myself and Dave. I hope you all have a merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, everyone.
And to yourself, Dave. Okay, take care, folks.
See you later.
See you. Bye-bye.